Hey now, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Pizza Punk. My name is Jeff. You know this already. We have such an awesome show for you tonight. I'm really stoked about tonight's show. Both of our guests are doing really cool things. And before I bring them out, we're going to bring them out in a minute. I just want to let you know because it's very centered around this episode. The Lee Ving Pizza Punk episode is live for the Patreons and for the YouTube members. So if you're a YouTube member or Patreon, go check out the Lee Ving episode of Pizza Punk. It was an honor to get to talk to this punk icon legend, to interview him and to hear just to hear about all his whole career. It was really great. So check that out. That'll eventually be available on the channel, like openly, but just not yet, not for a little while. Got some more treats coming up. Got some great episodes. Another thing that we also need to take a quick moment. We're going to do a proper tribute tomorrow. If I didn't have this show booked, we would be doing a whole tribute episode to Howie Pyro of Howie Pyro, the friggin' punk renaissance man. He's done everything. He's managed clubs, bass playing musician, collector, author, just, you know, everybody who knew him seemed to love him. I got to meet him a couple of times. I interviewed him for the doc, for the Lodi doc project. And I'm so sad for his friends and family that have lost him. So we're going to actually do an entire sort of celebration of his life tomorrow. We're going to learn more about Howie and just sort of learn more about his remarkable life. I describe him as sort of like he's like a punk rock Forrest Gump. Like, you know, happening to be, you know, just hanging out with like Sid Vicious the night before he died, like all sorts of crazy stuff. And it's the biggest crime of all is that Howie never wrote a book about his life. I don't think. Maybe he started on one, but and if he did, I hope it comes out someday. But as far as I know, there's nothing on the books. So we're gonna tackle that tomorrow. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, what's up, Room Morgue? But in the meantime, let me bring out my guests. They've been waiting here. We're going to pop them both out at the same time. Ready? I'm going to do a little sound effect when I do it. There's one. And there's two, but we hate the setup. Let's do this. I'd like to welcome Robert and Jason to the show. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
How you guys doing?
Living the dream.
Yeah. You know, Robert, can you talk again? I don't think I can hear you. Oh, Robert's
sorry.
There he is. There he is.
I have a major crazy echo going on.
You got an echo. Hold on. All right, I muted. Sorry, Robert, I muted you for a minute. Figure out the echo. Give me a thumbs up when you're echoless here. Let's see. And we'll Oh, I got whoa. That's weird. Got a weird echo situation going on. Maybe, you know, Robert, I'm going to kick you out. I'm just going to kick you out. You come back in. All right. I'm going to boot him real quick. All right. Robert is going to come right back into the chat. Don't worry. This happens all the time on the show. We're constantly, it wouldn't be a show if there weren't if there wasn't some sort of technical difficulties. But while we're waiting for Robert to come back into the show, what do we have behind you, Jason? We have some interesting things. What's going on back here?
So right here is a cotton candy cocoon from Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
And then I actually have, I'm sorry to like adjust, but I have like a whole wall of masks.
Oh, wow.
I've got too much.
Those are gorgeous. Stuff. You got the bad taste mask. Hold on. Put that back up.
Oh, okay.
We got the bad taste mask. We got a Scream mask. Looks like we got maybe we got a Killer Clowns mask. We have, are any of those Nightmare Before Christmas?
No, I have, there's Captain Spaulding. There's the Season Witch masks.
Yeah,
the one in the middle is a Sam mask that I actually made, like the burlap.
Oh, wow. You got a baby?
It's the baby from Happy Death Day.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. And
it's all horror masks for sure.
Is that Straight Edge Kegger, the pig mask? Is that a pig mask from Straight Edge Kegger on the wall?
No. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. But no,
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I know the mask you're talking about, but I don't have that up there now.
Okay, Robert's back. Let's see. Let's bring him back in. Hey.
All right, I figured it out. It was me.
Yes, he's back. Welcome. That. That's okay. That's okay. All right, let's do a little sort of introduction here before we launch out. Robert, tell us a little bit about who you are. You have a really cool company that makes all sorts of really cool shit. But what's interesting is I didn't really, at first I thought it was just like an apparel company, but you are also a record label, and that is like a whole other like aspect of your business. So tell me about how did this all come about? How did you come about doing this?
Okay, it's a long story, but I used to work at SST Records back in the 90s.
Oh,
so
wow.
I worked for Greg and Chuck Bukowski at SST Records.
Oh my God, I have questions for you.
Yeah,
holy
for sure.
Shit.
And then I went after SST. I actually went to Epitaph Records for almost a year.
What year was that? And what year was that?
96.
So you were there when all the Punkoramas were being churned out,
and the Offspring were on the radio and all.
Oh my God, that is friggin' fucking cool! Holy shit!
It was an interesting time, and vastly different companies, by the way.
Yeah,
like, vastly different.
I can only imagine. We could literally do a whole podcast about that alone. That's amazing.
Just to give you an example, SST, I was working on a telephone and a Rolodex, and Epitaph, I was working on a full computer, and people were drinking vodka in the office. It was like totally crazy, wild, wacky time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was interesting, to say the least.
That is interesting. And then what happened?
I left and I started a company with a guy named Dave Nasworthy, who used to be in Chemical People and Down by Law.
Okay.
We started printing T-shirts for Face to Face and a bunch of other bands that kind of blew up later on, called Chaser. And then we did Chaser for a few years. It got decent size, and then we sold it to another firm that was one of our printers. And then I stayed on, and we were a $75 million company, and Chaser still exists today. You can go buy it at Bloomingdale's and Nordstrom's and all these kind of brands. So anyway, it's
and then what led to Adam Age?
I was kind of doing just little goofy stuff out of my garage. And then I started working with Lee with Fear, and Lee kind of had this giant treasure trove of stuff, and he wasn't really taking advantage of it. And I was telling him, hey man, we should probably start releasing some of these records and recordings that you have floating around. And so I got to pillage the vault and started working from there. And I just found some amazing stuff, and we can go into that in the show. But it's really it's been a fun ride, and I really, it's what I love to do. I enjoy it immensely.
Let me further press you for a moment, if I may. So so this is crazy. So you worked at SST in the 90s?
Yes, sir.
Chuck Bukowski is still there.
No, he's there then. He's not there anymore, but he was
there.
No,
yes, I know. That I know.
He was an owner of SST with Greg.
Till 89.
Yeah, Greg bought him out, and then he was still there until, I want to say, 99 or 2000.
Yeah. Wow. That is really powerful. And then, I listened to all the bands on Epitaph, but like those Punkoramas were amazing for a few reasons. Jason, I don't know if you can relate to this if you were a Punkorama kid the way I was, but it's like for $5.99 you got 25 bands, and that's how I literally discovered all those bands. I know all of those bands because of those Punkoramas.
Yeah. Well, what's even funnier is the Punkorama, that whole style of putting a bunch of bands on a CD was basically an SST thing called the Godhead Airplay CDs. So they used to send them out to the stores for free. Yeah, and you can find them on eBay and stuff. But anyway, SST used to do that stuff, and they used to do the little mail order pamphlets and the records way before Epitaph did any of that stuff. So it was like they were kind of just taking everything SST was doing marketing wise and kind of just put their shine on it and made it, you know, the Punkaramas and that kind of thing. So it was an interesting stuff. Working at both labels, I got to see how, you know, things are done.
I have John of Doom, as I call him. You know him by a different name, Evil High. Yes, yes. I call him John of Doom. There's John of Steel and John of Doom, and he says Robert and I go.
Great.
Yep, they're going to be on Pizza Punk next week, and
very cool.
He says Robert and I go way back. Hey, Robert. So he's saying hello.
John is awesome, like family.
John is awesome. We love John here. He's been a champion of the channel and just an awesome dude. Jason, what is do you have a favorite Punkorama? Are you like,
I don't remember what number it would have been. I know it was green. Like the actual disc was green, and I know it had.
That's the first one. That's the first one.
The very first one?
I think so.
It definitely had a Distillers song on it. Gosh, it's been so long. It definitely
that's Punkorama 9.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I thought it was a later one. Yeah,
that's a super later one.
Yeah. I think that was the first one I ever got. It was like a hand-me-down. So,
and it had a DVD too.
Yeah. Yep. That was the one.
Had a DVD. They started putting the DVDs on there. I got off the Punkorama train in 2001 with Punkorama 6, which had the Stanley Kubrick 2001 the apes were on the cover. And I just love Punkorama. Sorry, it's an excuse to talk about Punkorama for a minute. Jason, let's jump over to you. This is going to be fun. We're just going to jump around because that's what we do, like House of Pain. Jason, okay, so Jason and I were just talking briefly off there, and I have to publicly admit that I am an airhead dunce, in that Jason and I actually go way back.
Way back.
Like way back. And I just didn't realize how far we had gone back. And meanwhile, I'm seeing him kind of like rise up in the indie horror community, doing like great things. He made this film, Straight Edge Kegger. It's on Shudder right now. Everybody should go watch it. I did a review of it actually for this channel. Go check it out. Go check out Straight Edge Kegger. Great poster design too, as well. I think, is that Sadist Designs?
Yeah, Sadist Art Designs. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they do good work. They're kind of like the bread and butter right now. Everybody likes going to them. But Jason was telling me, so Jason's friends, shout out to our mutual friend Elliot Abel, yes, who also should come on the show at some point in the future. He went to high school with Jason, right?
Yep.
You tell the story, Jason. What happened?
Well, yeah, so Elliot and I go way back. We used to shoot a bunch of dumb little shorts and work on like zombie movies and stuff together. A lot of stuff that we never released, we just did for fun. So we've stayed friends, luckily. And he went to Columbia College in Chicago, which is also where Jeff went. So I would go up and visit him and my girlfriend at the time. And I just, dude, I gotta be honest. I remember meeting you and thinking you were like the coolest fucking dude I had ever met. Like when I walked up to you, you just had you had a leather jacket on, and like your facial hair, everything about you. I was like, this dude's fucking rad. And if I remember correctly, you have a Misfits Crimson Ghost tattoo on your arm. Yeah. So as soon as I saw that, like you put off the jacket, I saw that, and I was like, simpatico. Yeah. So,
dude, this is so funny because Jason, you know, I said, Robert, you got to come on the show, because I just figured you'd make for a great guest and just would like to have him on the show. And Robert was like, hey, you know, Jason should come too. I was like, great. So he put Jason in the email, and then Jason goes, oh yeah, The Doorman, which is a short mock grindhouse trailer that I had made in college with Elliot that I submitted to MTV. It won a contest. It was on MTVU, which in 2007 was a big deal. Nowadays, I mean, now it doesn't matter at all. But like back then, that was like kind of like that was a pretty cool thing. That was a pretty nice feather. If I blow any more smoke up my ass. But what was so funny was he's like, yeah, I got The Doorman. I'm like, how the fuck does this guy have the door? Why does he have The Doorman? Like, I mean, that's cool. I'm like, Elliot must have given him The Doorman, because Elliot's like that. Elliot's like, you know, he wants to like turn people on to stuff and share stuff. He's really cool like that. And he made a really cool documentary about where you guys are from. I've been there. I've been to the Concrete Sea underwater
Birdland.
Yeah, whatever it's called. And
Yeah.
we shot Elliot's project there. Point being, it was just funny that I didn't realize that Jason and I had gone way back. And I was like, oh, this guy's awesome, man. Freaking made this Straight Edge Kegger movie, got it on Shudder. And now we can officially, I mean, there was like a Rolling Stone article about it, right? Like we could like talk about this. It's not like some, because when I spoke to Lee, he was very codified. He was a little codified about it. So I wasn't sure what exactly could be discussed. But Jason is the director of the new Lee Ving Fear documentary that is coming out. And Robert is the producer. And that's why they're both on the show to talk about that as well as stuff. So friggin' congrats. And tell me, so where does your filmmaking journey begin?
Oh God. That's how much time do we fucking have?
Give me do what Robert did. Give us a truncated so we can just keep moving. We're just going to keep moving and grooving.
Yeah. So I mean, I grew up, watching the CKY videos and skate videos and stuff. And so we just started filming and editing things to music that we had no rights to use,
Oh, yes,
and it just slowly kind of snowballed upwards. And like when I got into a film program, I didn't like what they were doing. They were just basically filming live events like football games, and I wanted to make movies. So I thought, what do I have at my disposal? And it was all this like Jackass ripoff kind of stuff. So we made a mockumentary, not a documentary, but similar. We made a mockumentary about my suicide. So I'm dead before the movie starts, and it's about this guy trying to discover why I killed myself and about a struggling artist, yada yada. So we just we made that whole feature for $1,000. And so then the next movie was like kind of a reaction to that, because it was so hard to make that feature out of nothing that we were like, all right, let's do a short. And then that short spawned an anthology. And then again, like Straight Edge Kegger was kind of a reaction to that, where I'm like, okay, I don't really want to just do these episodic things. I want to really take a shot. So it's weird. Like I've made 3 features, but I really feel like Straight Edge Kegger is kind of my first narrative feature, So,
now, no, but you had also, there was a short version of Straight Edge Kegger before the long version.
Yeah, that's true. And that really, it's a very dumb reason that I did that mock trailer idea. It was really just to like plant a flag on the hill and say like, this is our idea, because we kept coming up with things that like, but we have no money. So by the time we get done, someone else has already done it. So like we made that first film called When I Die, and like 3/4 of the way through, somebody else with more money released a film that's about somebody's suicide. And they're like going through their high school filming, telling people that the project's about them committing suicide.
Isn't that frustrating when that happens?
Yeah.
It's so frustrating, dude.
And then the next one that was an anthology, we were like calling it The Return of VHS Horror. And it was like before this VHS craze hit. And then 3/4 of the way through, the movie VHS came out. And I was like, fuck me. So then, so when we came up with Straight Edge Kegger, I was like, okay, we need to do something quick, because if I don't do it, something similar is going to come out,
Right. And man, it was great. And I believe it got pressed too. I feel like Elliot had showed me something, and then I remember seeing something about it. So I was like, oh, it's Elliot. That's awesome, dude. Like, that's super awesome. And then, it just friggin', dude, it snowballed. You went to Nightmares, you went to Genre Blast, and we're kind of like, there's like this indie horror community full of like-minded filmmakers, all putting out just these small contained horror films. Not small, not contained, but you know what I mean. Like it's it's like a small pool, but really fun, vibrant film community to an extent.
I grew up valuing DIY, so like that's whether it's creating music or screen printing your own T-shirts or making films, like it doesn't really matter. That's I mean, at the core, that's why our logo is like a Mohawk logo, is because like I may not always make movies about punks. The next one that I hope to make certainly isn't, but well, this doc is, but the next narrative feature is not about punks. But like that DIY ethos is what I think I value the most,
I'm gonna put a pin in you right there, because I want to ask you both the question. This is the thesis question of the show. I asked this to all of my guests here on Pizza Punk, and Lee Ving's answer is the greatest answer ever. And when the episode is made public, I think everybody will really enjoy what he says, how he says it, and whatnot. But the question is pizza punk? And if it is punk, why is it punk? If it's not punk, why is it not punk? This is a very subjective question. Whatever you say is going to be the right answer. There's no right or wrong way. Just like when you're creating stuff, there's no right or wrong way to create something. Just create it. So go ahead. Whoever wants to go first.
Jason, you go.
Damn it, I was about to say the same thing. Okay. So yes, I think that pizza is punk. I guess for me, it's probably like the communal aspect of it and the fact that it's very cheap, and you can even, you could customize it. You can make these things on your own, have a lot of fun with it. You be creative. Like, I think a lot of punks wind up working pizza jobs. I was a pizza delivery driver for 10 years off and on. So yeah, fuck yeah. I think pizza is punk.
I like it. Robert?
I think it is also because it was originated with the working class against it was the leftovers from the rich people. So they would take all the ingredients and they would make pizza, from those ingredients. So I think it was the working man's food. And I've actually been to Italy and had it, and it's way different there than it is in New York or California, like or
Napolitan style.
Yeah, margarita pizza, the queen.
Good.
It's named after the queen of Italy and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's I think it's the working man's food for sure.
I just want to say, I know that Jason is a Chicago man, but I just have to admit that Chicago pizza is not.
Get the fuck here.
I had to break a little balls. It's deep dish casserole is the way I look at the upside down. I lived in Chicago for 3 years. Everybody's like, bro, this pizza's great. I'm just like, a New York snob about my pizza. I will say Demo's Pizza. It's now Ian's Pizza, or no, it's Demo's now, but it used to be Ian's Pizza over by Clark. I used to live off North Seminary, off the Belmont Red Line, and Demo's Pizza is like really, really good Chicago pizza. I will recommend if you're in Chicago, go to Demo's. They got the macaroni and cheese slice. They do the Smokey and the Bandit. They make their own root beer, and you just can't go wrong with Demo's Pizza.
It's no Lodi pizza though.
Lodi pizza is a good pizza too. We did a little Jersey pizza tour. Actually, we brought Joey Ramone a slice of pizza and left it by his grave.
Awesome.
Just out of respect, since it was right there, right next to Lodi pizza. But yeah, no, those are, I love both of these answers. Napolitan pizza is like my favorite style of pizza, by the way. I like a high gluten crust. We really don't talk much about pizza on the show, unless it was the first show we did with Paris of the Cro-Mags. We talked a lot about pizza. We were eating pizza as we were talking, and it was really hard to do the show because we were like, pizza. So now we just talk about anything, but still ask that question.
I actually have a weird pizza tie-in that I didn't think I was going to talk about, but I went to a film festival called Crimson Screen, which is amazing. But PJ Souls was their guest the year that I went, and she received like a lifetime achievement kind of trophy. But she had a Q&A, and I was like, hey, I love Rock and Roll High School. I'm a huge Ramones fan. Any chance you have a story that maybe we haven't heard before? And it took her a minute, and then she was like, you know what? I do have something weird. She's like, I had a big Thanksgiving meal for them, and they came over, and like I had this huge thing planned out, and I went, through everything, and it was immaculately put together, and they didn't want to eat anything, and instead they ordered pizza.
Stop it.
I swear. that is
story. What an on-brand Ramones thing to do. Hey, yeah. Pizza.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about the project, the big project, and however you guys want to, dish that out. Please tell me about this, the genesis, or how this all came to be.
I think that's a Robert start.
So, a lot of people don't know this, but I did a Black Flag documentary that never got finished.
Stop.
Yeah, I've got hours and hours of footage with a bunch of different band members, and I used to work at SST, so I called Greg Ginn and I was like, "Hey man, I want to do this film," and he was like, "Okay, cool," but then he never put anything in writing, and so I shot a bunch of interviews because I'm friendly with Robo and a bunch of other people from the band, Kira and Chuck, and anyway, I filmed hours and hours of interviews. And then I didn't get the music rights. I couldn't get them. Greg wouldn't give them to me. So I kind of aborted everything. And then I've always wanted to make a rock doc. So anyway, I started working with Lee, and then eventually, when I started working with Lee, I was just the merch guy. And then I got more and more involved as we progressed. And then at the time he owned everything but the first record. So I was like, well, that's pretty good. Like, let's try to think about doing a documentary. And he was like, I don't know, but there's so many great stories inside of this documentary. I mean, they've had this, I think it's just luck. They've just had some serious great luck, starting with John Belushi and the Spirits and just all these things happening for Fear. So anyway, come 2022, we regained the rights to the first album back March 1st. So now we own everything Fear.
Wow.
Yeah, we got it back from Warner Brothers on March 1st. So we now have basically everything but the interview footage, which we have yet to shoot. We have one interview, but I don't know if we're going to use it or not. But anyway, so we have basically everything that, documentaries spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of clearances for.
Yeah.
They have at our disposal. And then Jason and I have been going through and converting all of Lee's old video cassettes and giant master tapes of all these television broadcasts. And,
pneumatic tape.
Pneumatic. Yeah, I had to send one to Lodi to get it converted, but the local TV station here did it for free, which was great. So
can you very quickly explain for our audience or for whoever watches this in the future, what exactly is pneumatic tape compared to like Betamax or VHS tape?
It's basically a giant old format that they used to use in the 70s and 80s. It's the size of 3 VHS tapes, or Jason will give you more info on that, but it's a giant old format tape that they used to use for broadcasting back in the old days. If you ever see old videos where somebody died in a car crash or something and the news cameras are there, they have these giant cameras, and the reason why they're so giant is because they have this big giant video cassette inside the camera. So anyway, it's a news format they used to use for many years.
Higher resolution than VHS.
Higher than VHS or Beta.
Even Beta.
Yeah, even Beta.
Wow.
So anyway, so yeah, we had to convert a bunch of that crap. And anyway, yeah, like I said, Lee has been preserving things throughout his career, but he never really did much with it. He just kind of had it sitting in boxes. So I've been fortunate enough to go through and archive everything, and
I'm so
digitize
jealous.
it.
That's so awesome, dude.
Yeah, you have no idea how
you have that cooperation. The cooperation is so amazing.
Well, at first I was afraid to even ask him about it because he's Lee Ving, you think he's going to be this difficult guy, but public Lee Ving and personal Lee Ving are two different people, kind of. And luckily, I've been friendly with both, and yeah, he was just like, that stuff's all old. What do you want to do anything with that for? And it's like, it's everything that everybody wanted to hear or wants to hear that never got used. So anyway, yeah, I've had a blast archiving it, getting it preserved.
You showed him the vision. He didn't have a vision for that footage.
Well, the first
said, Lee, we could do this.
The real first project we did a Fear Fuck Christmas crew neck sweatshirt. It was a fake Christmas sweatshirt. That was one of the first Atom Age products. Anyway, we put it up, and it sold like 850 of them just like immediately. It was like
Really?
craziest thing I've ever seen. And then we did the first Paradise Sessions 7-inch record, and I'm like, yeah, this thing's probably going to do a couple hundred pieces. It was like 400 pieces just immediately, like within 10 minutes. It was crazy.
Wow.
We were sold out in 10 minutes. Yeah, it was like, what? And I was just blown away at the response. The fans really love Lee and the band, and you know, I want to really preserve that legacy, because Lee's got grandkids. You know, I want to make sure that they have all of that, you know, of their grandfather preserved for generations to come. You know, I think it's important to a lot of people.
That's
It was to me
amazing.
growing up.
He's a grandfather. That like blows my mind.
Yeah,
That
it's
blows my
like I said, you know, there's public Lee and there's personal Lee, and it's just really cool to see both sides, you know.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, I really have enjoyed working and archiving all this stuff. There's like thousands and thousands of hours of audio, and you know, video too. There's quite a bit of video too. They were on Dick Clark American Top 40, and they were on all these.
Fear?
Yeah, absolutely. New Wave Theater. So we in transferring all these tapes, we found an unaired episode of New Wave Theater that's never been released to the public.
Dude, you have unreleased friggin' live footage?
Yeah, it's like in the studio, like live in the studio footage.
Yeah.
That never came out, never hit the marketplace.
This is a home run. Like, this is a home run. Like,
I hope so.
oh, it's a home run.
Crossed, man.
It's a home run, man. You guys have a home run. I'll tell you, I just had my friend Kevin on. Shout out to Kevin. He's doing a documentary about a band called Haunted Garage. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Dookie Flyswatter.
Yes.
Yep.
He's doing the Dookie Flyswatter documentary. And I said to him the same thing. I said it was a home run. It was a home run for 3 reasons. One, you have a wealth of material, of archival material like you guys have. 2, you have unfettered cooperative access, and you've already experienced what that's like working with Greg Ginn and not having that access. And I'll tell you, I've definitely also experienced these things in various ways that I won't talk about right now. But that, and three, I said to him, I was like, you have something that's really out of the box. It's like remember the band called Death documentary?
That's my favorite rock documentary ever made.
Dude, it exploded. It hit all. It was a human interest story. So he had a human interest story. And I was like, all of those things, as you were talking just now, Robert, I was thinking in my head, I was like, a Lee Ving documentary has all of those things and more, because it's like Fear. Like, it's a home run.
He's also an accomplished actor too, and been in these major movies. He's the bad guy in Flashdance.
In Dudes. He's in Dudes.
Great. Yeah. Like, I watched Dudes in the 80s, and I was like, Lee Ving is a dick, you know, like
he killed Flea. He killed Flea.
You know, just he played such a great
bad guy.
Yeah.
Great bad guy.
Anybody that makes you go, that guy's a dick, like your guy in Straight Edge Kegger, who's the antagonist, is such a great actor. That guy is so awesome. I think I've even told you on the phone. Yeah, that guy can act. I mean, he can really do a good bad guy, and I hope that guy is successful as an actor, because he really is really good at it.
Get Crazy too. Lee Ving is in Get Crazy, and I asked him about that, and he was just like, yeah, Get Crazy. Like, he didn't really want to talk about it, but like, I mean, Get Crazy is like a crazy friggin' movie. Like, it's a really crazy. Lou Reed is in this movie too. Yep. Like, it has Lou Reed and Lee Ving. Yeah. Just so many people are in that movie.
Quick anecdote there with Malcolm McDowell. I was at a horror convention called Mad Monster in Phoenix, and Malcolm McDowell is around the corner from me, and I'm like, oh, Get Crazy. So I took him a Fear 7-inch, and he was like, you know Lee Ving? Like, he was like, it was like, that guy is wild.
You know Stanley Kubrick?
Yeah. No, he was like, I mean, it was insane. He was just like, he was treating me like a rock star because I was working with Lee, and I gave him a neighbor 7-inch, and he was just blown away. He was just like, Lee is the coolest guy ever. So I gave him Lee's number, and he gave me his phone number to give to Lee and stuff. It was really cool to reconnect those guys. But yeah, the Get Crazy stories I've heard have been pretty interesting for sure.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to hear. So you've conducted one interview thus far. You've been doing a lot of digitization, and what people don't realize, like, making a documentary is not like making like a narrative film, where you could shoot a narrative film in 10 days. You know, if you're making a documentary with archival material and you're doing it I guess the right way. I guess the right way is you're supposed to transcribe everything, but like, who has time to transcribe everything? I don't have the time. Maybe if I had a couple of like interns lying around to do that. And I did do that. I did that on a documentary. I don't know if Jason, did you know about the back in Chicago, there was a documentary, The Dead On Life and Times of George Romero, which has still never been released. And I was a transcriber, and the first thing I transcribed was the Glenn Danzig interview. It was like a really, really long, never been released interview. I still have the transcript though, somewhere. I got to find some of my files. But it's just, making a documentary can be an arduous, long process. You have to know the material inside and out. Then you have to find the story within the material. Then you want to have to weave interviews in, and there's no wrong or right way to skin a cat either. Like, it can be done any which way. Have you guys talked about your attack, or are you still just like in that are you just like purely in the process of getting your materials up to snuff for the next step?
I mean, it's definitely been mostly pre-production, you know, and like compiling, you know, digitizing all this stuff, which has been a fucking blast. But, you know, I've started to kind of create a structure. You know, I edit as I go, and I've already like, it's funny because I already have a timeline, and I even space it out. That's with great. like a rough 90-minute. I know for a fact the very last clip that we're going to use in the entire movie that leads into the end credits. I have certain things like that. I know things that I want to pull from the story, but I'm kind of hesitant to even talk to like Robert about it because I do just want to see what happens organically. And I'm going to try to poke the bear a little bit and see some of the shit that I can pull.
Oh man.
But ultimately, like you said, it's like it's not something that we could like map out super easy. We kind of have to see where it goes. And it's also, you know, Robert can probably speak to this a little bit better than I can, but we're not really sure in terms of like the footage. We have access to a lot of footage, but we also have basically no money. I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. And we're going to try to get funds to support it, because there's definitely stuff where like it can cost $7,000 a minute. So suddenly a thing that I know how I picture it working in my head, if we can't get this person that I want to tell the story, and I'm not going to name drop, but I have a couple people that I'm like, I want that person to tell this story. I want to use this footage. But if suddenly we don't have access to those things, then we pivot. You know, you just keep working with what you do have. And that's something.
Be like water. You got to be like water.
Exactly.
Just go with the flow. It's funny. It's funny. It really is kind of like, it's like a block of marble almost. And that whole adage about like finding the thing inside of the block of marble, that it exists there. And you just have to slowly chip away at different angles and different ways and in different sort of, and just try and take this massive sort of cohesive thing and just shape it down until what it is supposed to be. Are you planning on, it sounds like that this is mostly going to be archive, or at least is it going to be like archivally like focused, or are you planning on like putting your feelers out and trying to get anybody you can to speak in the doc as well?
Yeah, I hope you don't mind, Robert, if you want to
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we want to pull in a lot of people, but I know Robert, when we talked last time about this, he seemed, I guess, excited or passionate about bringing in people that are usually kind of sidelined when it comes to these things. Like, there are a lot of punk docs where like the same 4 or 5 people seem to be interviewed in those, and he knows this stuff inside and out. So I'm actually it's really nice because I know quite a bit, but I know kind of from my perspective, whereas he knows a lot of people that I don't know. He knows a lot of stories that I don't know. So it's pretty fun to be working together on this thing instead of just, you know, coming up with it on my own.
How did you two meet in the first place?
You want to go? Go ahead.
So you ordered something from me, correct?
Well, yeah, I ordered something from you a long time ago. The first thing that I remember ordering, and I
just got it yesterday.
No. I bought the.
You brought it up, Robert. You were the. You.
I bought the Neighbors 7-inch. That was. I think that was the first thing that I bought from Adam Age, but then actually we met at a convention
in Chicago.
Because I was doing my rounds and I had a table there for our distributor, but I was making the rounds and I didn't find much that I wanted, except I saw 2 really cool Repo Man shirts. So I went to buy Repo Man for me and my buddy Alex. And so we started chatting punk and horror a little bit. And Robert told me that he had just watched one on Shudder. And it turned out to be Straight Edge Kegger.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we just started chatting about that and the fact that I kept my merchandising rights. So Adam Age also just put out 2 different T-shirts, and they're pressing the soundtrack to vinyl and CD. So
congrats and all of that stuff, guys. Listen, everything we're talking about is all the links for these guys are in the description of this video. Go check out Adam Age. Check out some of the stuff, and I'll tell you. Adam Age has put out some really cool T-shirts as of recent. I was shocked. Robert, you are doing a Meet the Feebles line. And I am like a Meet the Feebles nut, like nice. Beyond a nut. It's like my favorite. It's, I'm on Letterboxd. That's in my top 4. Yeah. Okay. That's like
one leg missing. How do I get around?
Yes. Yes. And I'm like literally dying. Like now that I see you have the Beatles up on your wall, Get Back has just come out. Yeah. Friggin' Peter Jack. I'm a ginormous, as much as I love the Misfits, I think I know as much about the beat. Like I know even more about the Beatles. Like I love the Beatles. Wall,
but here, I'll show you. This one's actually signed by all of them.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah, it's sharp. It's signed in old Marks a Lot pen.
He's got them signed by all the Beatles, dude.
Yeah. Well, there's a few of them up here that are signed by everybody, but yeah.
Oh my God.
And now will it stay?
That is okay. That is nuts, man. That's
pretty crazy.
Nuts. That's pretty crazy. But Peter Jackson. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I said I got a bunch of stuff from this guy who he used to work at EMI in the UK, and he had cancer, and so he was having this big blowout of all these sleeves, and he was a promo guy for EMI, so he had years and years and years of promo items, and I was like, I was in a good financial shape at the time. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I bought a bunch of stuff.
Unreal, dude. That is an unreal piece. And let me tell you something. I mean, 2 of those guys are not around anymore. I mean, that's like an incredible. Actually, the other 2, the Paul and Ringo don't sign autographs. Period.
Yeah, they stopped. Yeah.
Peace and love. I'm not signing any more autographs. They don't do it.
Well, they used to do it by mail order. You can send them their stuff. You send them stuff, and they would sign it and return it. But I think he'll still sign it if you meet him in the alleyway or something.
Right. Right. Even Paul doesn't want to take pictures, but if you meet, he would. Howard Stern was like, could you take a picture with my daughter? Howard fucking Stern. Paul McCartney's like, no, I'm not going to do that. He's like, not about it,
Yeah.
Listen, if you took pictures with people for 60 years of your career, I think you're allowed to retire. I wouldn't hold it against them. I
wouldn't
get
give
it.
McCartney any shit or Ringo any shit. I think, they've pretty much earned whatever they want to do. That's fine with me,
So I've never seen them live, and they're coming. The reason why I've never seen Paul live, and I don't want to say that it's because it does have to do with money in the sense that whatever seats that I can afford I'm going to only be able to afford nosebleeds, and the nosebleeds are so far out. I'm like, I just can't wrap my mind around seeing just doing it. I always pass it up. But this tour that he's doing right now, he's doing a duet with the footage from Peter Jackson up on the rooftop. I can't miss that.
You better go.
I'm gonna fucking go to the New Jersey date. I have to do it. Have to do it.
I saw him maybe 10 years ago at Coachella. And
wow,
he was amazing. He picked up he usually plays bass, but he picked up a guitar and they played a Hendrix song, and he was nailing the leads, and I was like, wow. Dude. And his voice is still perfect, it was like, as men grow older, their voices get deeper.
Right.
He doesn't have that problem, and he nailed everything perfectly. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, he definitely go, because I was just blown away. I have not seen Ringo play, but
Ringo, like, I love you, Ringo, but like the one I want to see is, here's why I want to see Paul McCartney, because even at 80 years old, he does a 36 song set. It's 3 hours long. As you said, he plays every single friggin' instrument. He plays what people want to hear. He puts 150% into the show. It's just, the problem is he only wants to do stadiums, and the stadiums, it's like, to be all the way up in the nosebleeds and pay like $250. I'm just kind of like, why not just watch it on YouTube? And I know that sounds really stupid and shitty, especially for being like a Beatles fan, but like, it just,
I disagree. It's like, is the juice really worth the squeeze? Like,
right.
You can
Jason,
say you were there, but if you didn't feel like you were there, because you were,
I wouldn't feel like I was there. That's my problem.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who like squeezes by and tries to get as close as I can on the side of the stage.
Yeah.
Wiggle my way.
You push.
Front, but I definitely would go if I were you, because he's just so great. Yeah,
I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to do it. Let me tell you something. On the flip side, I spent more money than I've ever spent on a ticket to go see the Misfits at Madison Square Garden. And I was in the pit, and I was really close to the stage. And, I paid a lot of money, but I felt like I was really at that show. I was in the pit. We were all singing our woes, and, there's just no greater fraternity than turning to the random guy next to you and just singing whoa, whoa, whoa. And that felt like that made sense to me, to be standing in like a bleacher all the way up. As Jason said it perfectly, I wouldn't even feel like I was really there. I can't. So it's hard, but I'm doing it. It's happening. I'm going to make it happen. So by hook or by crook, I'm going to make it happen.
You can always say too that you were at that show, like it's a nice, bragging point, even though you are in the nosebleeds or wherever you are,
See Paul McCartney and duet with John Lennon, even though he's dead and gone. Like I need to be able to say I saw that live.
Yeah, that's great.
I have to. Jason, what is a really cool concert that you have seen that just like melted your eyeballs? I mean, you're in Chicago. There's like so much great pre everything, like so much cool shit was rolling through there. Like, what is something that you saw that just like melted your face off?
That's tough. I've legitimately seen hundreds and hundreds of shows, because my dad did some work for the New World Music Theater back when it was called that. Now it's
cool.
I think now it's the First Midwest Bank Amphitheater, or the Theater Center, something like that. But in Tinley Park, Illinois. And so I got to see, like, I saw The Who when I was like, I don't know, 9 years old or something. My first concert was Cracker. So I saw The Offspring when I was like 11. I've seen all these weird things. And then as I got older, I started going to more like punk and hardcore shows. So I guess a few of the highlights, I saw Jay Retard.
Oh my God. I am so fucking jealous of you. Oh
yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Wait. Hold on. What year did you see Jay?
If I remember correctly, it would be 2005 or 2006.
Right at the end.
Yeah, it was right at the end.
Oh man, that's right when he fucking released Blood Visions.
Yeah.
That is, that record to me is like, okay, first of all, my kids, my 3-year-old daughter and my son, when he was 2.5 to 3.5, listening to My Shadow on the way, dropping them off to school every day. We didn't call Jay Retard. We call him JJ, because I didn't want the, just safe with the, going into preschool and being like, Jay Retard. Be like, oh, wow, how did you hear that? Like, what? Yeah. But wow, you saw, I mean, dude, and you know what's so funny? He played all the time. He was always under my nose. I just wasn't into him yet. Into him yet.
No, to be fair, like I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I a few years later became obsessed with him.
Really?
So, yeah. Have you seen his documentary?
I have not seen the documentary yet, but I have to tell you, his band, okay, not just Jay himself, but Jay's band, his drummer for the first right, he broke up with that band, that backing band, right before he died. But the drummer that he had for all the shows, because I think Jay played the drums on Blood Visions. The drummer that he had, that dude with the long beard, that dude was an incredible drummer. Well, he had the tightest band, dude, the tightest band.
Mm-hmm.
I watched tons of live videos. I have not seen the documentary yet. I want to watch it.
It's great. It's pretty fascinating because it's like you could tell that it was interrupted by his untimely death. So it's like it's interesting because it's like it is a full-length documentary and it's got all these wonderful interview clips, but it's so weird some of the stuff that they choose to use. And I think it's because they ran out of time with him. So they're like, okay, what do we have? So there's some really weird things where like he's just packing up his stuff and talking about how you shouldn't wear shorts on stage. Like, and I'm like, this is exactly what I needed in my life, but I didn't realize it. So yeah.
Wow.
So that was a big one. Ceremony. The first time I saw Ceremony was pretty rad because they were transitioning from hardcore to their new wave kind of stuff that they are now. I know that it's probably not cool now, but the first time I saw Leftover Crack, that kind of blew my mind.
Wait, are they not? They're not cool anymore, or something bad?
Oh, there's a whole thing.
Choking victim? Is it like a beef?
No, so there's a whole, I don't know if I want to get into it, but there's a whole thing in the news.
He's got controversy is what you're trying to get at. Okay. Yes, got you. Yeah. I understand.
He's got some pretty serious controversy.
Okay.
Right now,
okay.
So.
I get it. No one judges you for liking left. I mean, listen, music is music. Like at the end of the day, I it's funny. Sometimes I'll be talking about Johnny Ramone or the Bad Brains on here. And I get like, it's funny, actually, nobody bats an eyelash when I talk about Johnny Ramone. But then I bring up the Bad Brains, and it's like the Bad Brains are like, the Bad Brains have their own controversy. Let's just put it that way. And I just don't get it. Like, why is like no one acknowledges? I'm like, dude, I talk about Johnny Ramone on this channel all the time because I love Johnny Ramone, because I love the Ramones. But it's like where like, why is it that some are like highlighted and others are like overlooked? It's very interesting to me. I don't know. Yeah. Weird how that works. Mm-hmm. Weird how that works. So you saw, that was another interesting show that you saw. Man, there used to, the Dumbledore out there. That was a cool venue. The Metro, is the Metro still around?
The Metro's still around. Cool. So my stomping ground for years was the Congress. And then
me too, man. I saw the Stooges there. I saw Danzig there.
We were probably at the same show for both of those.
Were you at the Stooges? Hold on. Did you see the Stooges in 2007?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Okay.
I was there with my dad. Actually, you know what though? I definitely 100%. I have no idea what show. It could have been one of the indoor Riot Fest back in the day, but I ran into you at one of those shows at the Congress for a fact. I don't
Very possible. Very possible.
Which one it was, and if I'm being honest, I think we were both under the influence.
I was not under the influence because I'm sober, but I assure you, I was sober back then as well. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I would have been
sober. Yes. But okay. First of all, that Stooges show was amazing because I had seen the Stooges in 2004 with the New York Dolls reformed, as well as the Strokes and a bunch of bands on Randall's Island, Little Steven's Underground Rock Garage. And I had my tooth knocked out in the middle of the Stooges set during No Fun. Not the whole tooth, but someone punched me in the mouth and my tooth shattered. And I kept moshing anyway. I didn't care. I was trying to get on stage during No Fun, Real Cool Time, because he says, "This isn't Nazi Germany. Everybody get on the stage." And so I didn't get on. And then of course, it's like part of their show. So that happens at the Congress. And I'm like, I am getting on that fucking stage. And I did. And I jumped on Iggy Pop's back and I touched his skin and it was like leather. And I was this close to Ron Ashton. And I was this close. Mike Watt doing his Mike Watt, like constipated, taking a dump face, like while he's playing, and Ron Ashton, like just standing there in awe of these gods and like watching just Ron Ashton. He doesn't want, nobody's jumping on him. He's just standing in the back by his amp, just shredding, very stoic, standing still, just shredding. and just being like, you're fucking Ron Ash, and like, this is the coolest thing ever. But the thing about the Congress that's so cool is that I met so many people that I still know to this day at the Congress Theater. And that's what always go to shows by yourself if you can. You'll never know who you meet. I made lifelong friends going to the Congress Theater and meeting people, like waiting for like Danzig's tour bus or waiting, like, whatever the situation is,
It's been a while since I've talked to this girl, but I met a girl there because she lost her wallet in the mosh pit, and I found it. And I went to the guards, and they didn't want to do anything with it at the time. So then I went to the bar. I wound up giving it to them. I go upstairs and I sit down to take a break, and a girl is like sad and kind of crying like over a few seats for me. And I went over. I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I don't want to bother you, but you look kind of familiar to an ID I just found." And she's like, "Oh my God, it's mine."
Wow.
And now we're still friends like 10 years later. So
Congress is amazing. R.I.P. the Congress. Now, Robert, you have probably seen like 1,000 shows that put anything that we said to shame. You've probably seen, you worked at SST. Like you probably saw, like you've just probably experienced and saw, wait, SST, was it in Texas at the time when you were working there? Where was it? California?
It was in Long Beach. Well, it was
still in Long
right
Beach.
outside of Long Beach. Yeah.
Wow. Tell us, put us to shame.
Sam Hain related. I forgot to tell you, I've also shot a documentary on the 99 Sam Hain reunion tour that never came out also.
What?
Yeah. I shot maybe 5 or 6 shows, and I shot on a video. I shot on London's video camera. And then I shot, I had a Super 8 film camera. So I filmed Norfolk and a couple other shows in my driving on the Super 8 handheld film camera. So anyway, I do have the audio for one of the shows. Where is it?
Can we release this too?
If you don't mind me asking, what? Yes, yes, you will get killed.
I'll get killed. No. But anyway, I have audio from.
This was commissioned by Glenn.
No, it was just being on the tour and hanging out with those guys. And London had permission to film, but I didn't. Anyway, I shot.
Did you shoot interviews? You shot interviews as well?
No,
you just shot
just live footage and driving and.
Oh, that's so
I
cool.
did shoot them I was on stage with my Super 8 camera in Norfolk, so I did shoot film of them playing.
Amazing.
Norfolk. But anyway, it never came to fruition, and we all kind of just never really happened. But I did do something like that. But I've seen a bunch of shows. I've seen the Ramones. I saw Nirvana on the last Nirvana tour. I've seen.
Whoa! That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Huge.
Wait, you just raising? It's like, oh, by the way, I saw Nirvana on their last tour. Anyway, no wait. So that's awesome. That was
it was at the San Diego Sports Arena, and I watched the show, and the show was great. But I turned to my friends, and I'm like, he's going to be dead in 6 months, and sure enough, he was dead in 6 months. Wow. He just the show was awesome. He played great. But I could just tell something was wrong. He was there just kind of going through the motions. And I could tell, I was like, he's over it. Like something's up, and I told my friends at the time, I'm like, yeah, he'll be dead in 6 months. Like, and sure enough, I was like, that was, I think November or December of 93. And then he died in like April of 94 or something like that.
They didn't play too many shows in 94, right? Or maybe they were like in Europe and
they went to Europe and they played with the Buzzcocks. They were playing with the Buzzcocks at the end of their European tour, and
that's pretty cool.
He OD'd in Rome, and then it was
right. That there was that OD that was supposedly the first attempt or something, and
well, he left a note, and they saved him. So.
Right, and that was in the news and stuff. I saw the Buzzcock. I was fortunate enough to see the Buzzcocks at Webster Hall in 2017. And I'm just so glad that I did before.
So I've also had a chance to photograph a bunch of bands too. And I did shoot the Buzzcocks back in 2015 or 2016.
That's awesome.
Shoot them in the pit and shot the Damned. And it was a big festival. Fear were on the same festival in San Pedro. I forgot what it was called, but it was a bunch of great bands. And I had a pass. So I just was shooting everybody and nobody was giving me any shit. So it was great.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, the Buzzcocks I've seen the Buzzcocks maybe like 7 or 8 times in my
Wow.
through my time, all the way back to, I think I saw them in 91 or 92 the first time. And the guy from the Smiths was playing the drums at the time. I forgot his name, but anyway, it was great to see them at that point. And,
I got to tell you, Singles Going Steady is one of the most immaculate records. It's actually a compilation. It's not really a record, but it is top to bottom. Every inch of Singles Going Steady it's
great.
Talking about the Beatles once again, like if the 1964 Beatles like came out in like 1976, it would be like the Buzzcocks. Like that's literally what it is. And it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
So, who else you seen? Anybody else?
Probably my favorite show of all time, Elvis Costello, and he couldn't call it The Attractions because the bass player wasn't in it, but they had a replacement bass player. But anyway, I was front row for this year's model at House of Blues in LA.
That's pretty cool.
For one of the anniversary. And it was just best show I've seen. And I was right up front, and he's just a fantastic player. And I've seen Nick Lowe a few times, and he's also really cool. And that's kind of the same sound. I've seen Madness. I've seen the Specials.
Dude, Madness was supposed to come to New York, and it kept getting pushed back. I wanted to see the 40th anniversary of Madness. I really, really wanted to go. I want to go to that show if it ever happens.
I just started working with them on the merch side, and then I still work with the English Beat. So we're going to do a Madness English Beat show at some point. But anyway, I like the old ska, and
the Specials are great live.
Fantastic.
Do you guys? Okay, are you familiar with these two? By the way, I want to bookmark Elvis Costello because I have a huge recommendation for you if you don't already know it. There are these two guys. They're called maybe they're called the Two-Tone Brothers. They're these two English blokes that just dance to like, what's that song, Lorraine? What's the name of the band who does Lorraine? Bad Manners. Lorraine. And they're these two guys, and they're just like, they just dance in like this very sort of like, it's like they synchronized in their dancing, and it's just really, and they're wearing like the two-tone black like suits and everything. And it's just the best thing you ever seen. You gotta check those guys out. I think they're on YouTube or something.
Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
They're great. You ever see This Is England?
Yep.
Love that whole series, not just the first one, all the mini series. Great series. Love it. Big fan. Big fan. What I was going to say about Elvis Costello, Elvis, again, I'm sorry, this is my third Beatles reference for the fourth Beatles reference for the episode. I apologize. This is a show about Pizza Punk. Okay, yeah. Elvis Costello, after John Lennon, Paul McCartney's best writing partner might have been Elvis Costello.
Veronica?
Veronica is one. There's about an album's worth of material that wound up on some of it ended up on Flowers in the Dirt. Some of it ended up on, what's the one with his Spike? Yeah. Some of it ended up on Spike, which is Elvis Costello's album at the time. This was in like 1989. I can't get over the writing like the chemistry between Elvis Costello and Paul McCartney is like orgasmic, and it's a crime that they did not put out more stuff. Like they complemented each other so perfectly.
Yeah. I agree.
Shame.
It's a real shame because I think that I always thought Paul should have done a record with like all the family members, like Donnie Harrison and Julian Lennon. Like Julian Lennon, Julian's voice sounds just like John's. I mean, why not, hash out some of those songs that they didn't use back in the 60s, and have Julian sing on it. But yeah, I think Elvis and Paul did a great collaborative thing.
Oh, it's just truly tremendous. Really, really. To get back to the Meet the Feebles merch, speaking of Beatles and Peter Jackson, whatnot. So how did you went to Peter Jackson? You licensed the Meet the Feebles?
I went to Wingnut, which is the company in New Zealand.
Right.
And the woman that runs Wingnut, her name is Claire Olson, and she's one of the Beatles documentary producers. She's the CEO of Wingnut.
Wow.
And so I just wrote, and I'm like, hey, these companies are all knocking your stuff off. Can I like pay you guys for real? And they were like, sure, but they're actually in the process of license, or they're restoring all those new movies to 4K. I don't know if you knew this or not, but there's a full Wingnut box set coming out of all these different.
I'm so happy. I hope Arrow does it. I hope it's Arrow.
Arrow does a great job, and I'm friendly with the people at Arrow, and they do such a great job.
They are the best. To me, they are the if I had to choose one of the boutique labels to be the Criterion, it would be Arrow. My personal opinion. I think they are gold standard. Jason, what do you think? What is your? Do you have a boutique label of choice personally?
So I do love Arrow. So the only thing with me is I've been obsessed with collecting VHS tapes.
Yeah, you made a documentary called Tapehead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, it's it fucking worked out because over the pandemic, I got kind of obsessed with the collecting again, and I started learning how to like clean tapes. So then when Robert sent me all these VHS, some of them actually needed to be kind of like restored before they got transferred. So it was like kismet, but
you picked a good guy, Robert. You got a good guy.
So yeah, it just fucking worked out. But yeah, no, Arrow's rad. I guess I get more excited about production houses, than on the distribution side. So like A24 is kind of my jam. That's my goal, is to one day get to work with them, Yeah.
Did you
have you heard of Second Sight Films out of the UK also?
Have I heard of Second Sight? Hold on one second.
He's gone.
He's going to get his Dawn of the Dead box set.
I'm so bad with names. So like I know SST and I know Epitaph, but if you were like, this band is on this label, I wouldn't remember.
I knew it. I have one of those too.
He called it.
Yeah. I knew it. So there's a Martin coming out.
Okay, all right. You ready for this shit? Not only is there a motherfucking Martin coming out, but they found Michael Gornick in
black and white 3-hour cut.
Fucking 3-hour cut. So I spoke to John Amplis.
Awesome.
I interviewed him, and I never released it. I should put that out on Patreon. He is a fucking awesome dude, by the way.
That's awesome. He looks like he would be awesome.
Oh, he's a fucking sweetheart. He's so down to earth. And we chatted about Martin and whatnot. And I asked him, I was like, straight up, I was like, dude, is there a 3.5-hour cut? Because nobody this was 2018. He's like, there was. He said there was. It's lost to time. So here's the thing. It's 3 reels. They're selling it sight unseen. Here's the problem though. As you know, Robert and Jason, you guys know the business better than anybody. Like just because you own it, you can't do jack shit with it.
You don't get the rights to it.
Fucking that bastard, Richard Rubenstein. Dude, this apparently took this was an arduous process, but I've never spent more on a single movie in my entire life, but I had to have this, and it was so worth every fucking penny.
So at the same show as Malcolm McDowell in Phoenix that I was at, around the corner from me on the other corner was George Romero. And I had probably the fanboy's wet dream conversation with George Romero for about 3 hours. And I have a bunch of stuff signed, and he was awesome. Romero also, I asked him, what happens after Fran and Ken Foree fly off in the helicopter? What happens? And he's like, I don't know. They make it, But I asked him, and I knew he had it in the back of his mind, but he was just like, I don't know.
He didn't want to be that guy.
Tell me, but he was stoked, and he was like, he just, I think he realized later on that he had a really profound effect on our generation of film fans, because anyway, that's something I will always remember fondly, is how cool he was to me at that show. And I was just a vendor around the corner, but I thought I asked pretty intelligent questions, and he was giggling and laughing, and we were having a good time. But Martin was his favorite film out of all the movies.
I knew this. I knew that Martin was his favorite.
And I asked him, is Martin really a vampire, or is he fucking crazy?
He didn't tell you that. He didn't tell you.
Yeah.
He wouldn't tell you.
But
I love Martin, dude. Great. I really hope that I don't think they're going to do it, because it's going to cost them $1 billion. That probably cost them $500,000 to do. And they're not going to, there's not enough of a market for it.
I have something I want to show you real quick. Hang on.
Okay, he's gonna bring something out, and when he gets back, yes, this is a fun show and tell. You got the cotton candy cocoons behind you.
I should grab my Meet the Feebles VHS. That's
it's
in like another room.
Where is it?
I don't know if you've seen this or not, but this is the Japanese Blu-ray box set.
No,
I got it in Tokyo a couple years ago, but it's awesome. They did a great job,
man.
This is going to be outdated. The Second Sight one is supposed to be amazing. Like,
I can't wait. I have to own that too.
Yeah.
When you spoke to George, did you ask him about the death ending or the original ending?
So apparently those reels of that ending were in some box at Laurel
Flood
and were destroyed, but they shot the ending with her, decapitating herself, helicopter blades, and Ken blowing his brains out all over. They did shoot it.
They set it up in the movie. If you think about it, the helicopter zombie is absolutely the setup for, that is setting us up for what's going to happen later in the film.
Yeah.
It totally, like, the fact that people are like, it doesn't exist. Like, of course it exists. Like it has to exist.
It did. Yeah.
Or it did exist. And, I'll tell you, one of the coolest things that Arrow ever did for Creepshow 2 was there was a fourth story, and they made a comic book out of the fourth story. It's like called Pin Pals or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Arrow to me stands above the rest. Like, for instance, I emailed a small British comic book company about trying to buy a copy of Society 2, the sequel, the comic book sequel to the movie Society by Brian Usna.
Brian Usna. I know Brian.
I interviewed Brian for 3 hours and it's still never come out. It's on. I have it ready to go, and I'm just an asshole who hasn't put it out yet.
Quick side note. I was the first company to ever license Reanimator back in the 90s. And
really?
Brian was like super cool. He did a movie called The Guyver, which is great.
Oh, I know The Guyver.
Mark Hamill from Star Wars is the Guyver.
Screaming Mad George.
Yeah, Screaming Mad George. It's really, really cool stuff. But yeah, Brian is awesome. And I'm trying to do a Society shirt now, but there's actually a Society TV show that they're working on.
We spoke. Well, he told me about the sequel. I didn't know about the TV show, but
yeah, there's a TV show version.
Maybe I hope it has the same elements that he was talking about, like the idea of the shunt being consensual. And I was like, like that, like freaked me out. I was like, a consensual shunt? That's crazy. So there was I emailed this defunct comic book company being like, I just want to read the story. Like, I will pay whatever I have to pay. This was like years and years and years ago. They're like, that's really nice of you. Just sit tight because the Arrow box set is about to come out. And guess what? We put the fucking comic in the box set. I was like, Arrow, you are the shit. You are the shit, man. And they did the same thing with Reanimator. They had the prequel comic, and there were 2 comics they put in there. Just for Bride of Reanimator and the original Reanimator, just phenomenal company, truly. Brain Damage, the Brain Damage set they did with the enamel pin of Elmer. Oh my God. Just heaven.
I'll show you a little bit of how much of a goofy collector I am. There's quite a bit of
that. There's nothing goofy about that, sir. That's beautiful.
I have more in storage.
That's beautiful. That's the problem. Isn't that the sad? We all have, if you saw over here, I have a display just like Jason's, and I have a display just like yours. You can't really see my basement is sort of a mess right now, but I have, I've got a couple. Couple things. I got a lot of Return of the Living Dead is like, if when people say, what is your favorite film of all time? Night of the Living Dead, hands down.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a George Romero-ologist. And I can't say it live on the air, but I have a present for both of you that will make both of your toes curl.
Oh, awesome.
When we get off the air. A really nice present that I just acquired today.
Have you seen?
And you're going to love it.
Hang on. I got one quick last thing on this before we go, or before we.
I love these jaws. It's like Quint and the scar. We're all showing each other our stuff.
Okay. Hang on.
Let's see it.
I wish I was in front of my VHS wall now because I have so much shit to pull out.
Dudes, friggin' show us something.
I've got Society. You know what? I'll be right back. Come
on. Go get it. Go get it. Let's see it.
Dawn of the Dead board game.
What? What? That's
totally
real?
legit. It's real. Yeah.
What year is that from?
78.
Yo.
A company called SPI. Anyway.
Damn.
Yeah. Like that's how much of a fan I am.
Yeah, you are, dude. You are that's something else, man. That is something else. I didn't know it was a board game.
Board game, yeah. And I think you can get them on eBay. They're not crazy expensive, but they're kind of like Misfit singles. They're kind of creeping up in value over the years. You know?
Right. It doesn't. Oh, okay. Jason, that's how I saw Meet the Feebles the first time. Oh yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Society is beautiful.
Society. Okay, wait, and then I got to show you. So this is my favorite tape that I own, and I don't know if either of you've seen this, but it's Microwave Massacre.
I've seen Microwave. I've seen it, but I've never seen that box set. Is that a clamshell case?
So that's gonna happen for like 10 seconds now. So Rhino put this out.
Nice.
Holy shit.
Yeah, Rhino released this in I think 1990, but they so these with the like actual microwave that buzzes, you like can't find them. I've seen people selling these for like $500+.
Oh my god,
which is crazy. And so I bought one where it didn't work, and I went to this little shop called Batteries Plus. Nice. And was like, hey, can you help? And for $8, they fixed it for me.
Wow. Hey, tell them I have the Evil Dead 2 Book of the Dead Necronomicon with the screaming eyeball from Anchor Bay, and the battery died. Maybe they could fix it. I want to poke that eye. Wait, now
the DVD?
I'm sorry?
Are you talking about on DVD?
Yes, I have the DVD. I have both Necronomicons.
I have those too, and I didn't even realize that it was supposed to make a noise.
Yeah, press the eyeball. Go right now.
Hold
on. Oh, I hope it works. Let me see it.
Okay, so I got.
Bro, how did you not know that? Dude, press the eyeball. Not on the original, not Evil Dead 2. Oh, please.
It doesn't work.
There's a mechanism.
I feel it.
Dude, that eyeball will scream. I had the same problem with the spine. It like cracks with the laminated cracks.
Oh, you saw that? Yeah.
Listen, since you're such a VHS collector. Fell apart. Listen, since you're such a VHS collector, let me show you two more pieces that I think you will really appreciate it. I rescued these from my video store, my horror section, when it was going out of business. It broke my heart, so I bought these movies because I was like, I could not allow them.
I'm so scared. I'm gonna really want whatever you show.
I'm gonna show you. I think you're gonna really. You probably seen these. These are common.
Okay, if they're common, then I probably got them. Oh God, what is it? If it's Mama's Home, I'm gonna be upset. This is so fun. I love this show and tell shit.
For sure.
I love how we keep all running away to show each other.
Yeah, like for a second, I should have just left because then there'd be nobody here.
All right, ready?
Yeah,
ready?
All
right, Robert, do you want to go? Should we take turns?
Okay,
Robert,
ready?
You want to go first? You go first.
Original novel.
Holy shit!
First print. And
okay.
I got everybody to sign it. Ken, Galen, Scott.
That's awesome, dude.
The book is totally different than the movie. I don't know if you knew that or not.
So I could imagine that being so. I'm going to segue into this. I have been reading the Return of the Living. Okay, this is, first of all, this is like apparently not cheap anymore. I bought it for $3, but it used to be very cheap. This book is very, very different from the Dan O'Bannon script. Now, but here's the thing that you have to remember. There's the original 1978 Return of the Living Dead. That's a completely different story that was in competition with Dawn of the Dead. Then it got bought up by Tom Fox. Dan O'Bannon was hired. He rewrote the script from scratch. Then John Russo came in and wrote a novelization based on the script.
Yeah.
And that's what this book is. And I read the entire book on my channel. So if anybody wants to hear the audio version of Return of the Living Dead, it is on this channel. Awesome. It's very different.
Have you seen, real quick, have you seen Midnight, John's movie Midnight?
I have not seen Midnight. When did he put that out? Is that before or after Santa
Blu-ray.
Claus?
I think Severin or one of those companies put out a Blu-ray of it, and it's really, really, I think it's his best work since Living Dead. It's really a hardcore movie. And I think John Amplas is in it too. Yeah. Ask John Amplas about it.
Probably
Yeah.
has Bill Heinzman in it as well, because
Yeah.
those dudes like work together.
And that movie is it's gnarly. It's really, and I think they just remade it recently too.
Okay,
But,
these next two, shout out to my friend Nick Bianco who got these for me. One of these is super fucking rare and will never ever be printed on DVD, Blu-ray, or Ultra HD. And it is Mondo motherfucking Trash Show.
Mondo Trash Show? Yeah, that's rad.
That you cannot, this is very, very, you cannot get this. This is very hard. But this used to be rare, but now it's
more,
now it's very unrare. This I rescued from, this is Black Roses, right?
Oh, I've got Black Roses.
Black Roses is cool, but now question, does your case do this? Do you see how it's raised?
Yeah, I've got the raised.
Oh, you do? You do? Okay. I figured that might be common.
It's actually not common. I'm just kind of a nut for VHS.
Is it really not common? So it's a rare thing to have.
It's not the cheapest tape out there for sure.
Really? Question, is yours collapsed a little bit or like a little bit broken? Mine got a little broken.
But mine's also not cut box. You have yours in a clamshell.
Yeah, so yours is, so you have a hold on. So you have a 3D non-clamshell box. So you have like a pristine copy.
It's not pristine, but yeah, it's pretty nice.
But it's like a pricey tape. Okay, I paid like $3 for this though.
No, you could. I'd have to guess. I'd have to go look, but I guess you could sell that for like $60 to $80 right now.
Holy shit! Well, I never.
Well, no, you have a cut box. You have a cut box, so yours would probably be like $35 or something. I don't know.
This was a very common cover from the 90s, so I won't be surprised if you know what it is. Like you'll probably be unfazed. But I still think it's just like the coolest fucking cover ever.
Yeah, sometimes it's just what's cool. It doesn't matter if it. Oh, dude, I don't have bleeders. I actually don't. Is that the blood bag?
That is the blood. Do you see the blood?
Yeah.
Do you see me
pushing it? I do.
There is liquid. There is liquid here, people, and I am pushing the liquid. They actually put liquid. They trapped liquid in under plastic for this cover, and I used to push this around when I was young. I used to push this around all the time. And then when we were going out of business, I was like, I have to have this in my collection.
I am a sucker for gimmick boxes.
Right. So, that's why I figured like the Black Roses boxes.
So I did these VHS cases.
Oh, look at that.
Inside. So I don't know if you know that I work with Dario Argento for the t-shirts stuff. But anyway, I did these VHS cases, and inside are the t-shirts.
Dude,
in a double.
Was that your idea? Was that your idea to do that? That's fucking so genius.
I found a skid of these in Chicago, so I bought the whole skid, and I released a different. Like I did the Demons one, and this is the Deep Red one.
So you literally can collect the whole set.
Yeah, but I ran out of double VHS cases because the standard VHS cases won't work with the shirt.
You know who would fucking love that? Fucking Dead Gein from the band Blood Sucking Zombies from Outer Space would cream his jeans if he saw that. He would just friggin' love that. What about this film? You cannot get this in the States right now. It is very hard to come by.
There's a laser disc from Japan of that movie that's amazing, and I think it's got like an extra 5 or 10 minutes of footage in it.
There is, yes, there's extended footage. Now, do you know about Wicked Distribution?
The porn company?
No.
I probably need to, while he ran away, maybe I should go grab my Return of the Living Deads.
This is a German label, and they put out just the creme de la creme.
Yes, I remember that.
Look at this. There's a book inside. Check this out. It's in German, which I can't read, but there's a book inside the case. It's built into the case.
Oh, that's great.
It's a 3-disc set. And it's just like, this is like one of my favorite movies. Like, I just love this to death. And I spoke to Brian. We talked all about this in the thing. I think this is the lobby car. Yeah, look at that. This is one of 150.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and it's 138. It's 138 to 150, of course. How appropriate. But they just do, if you ever get a chance, follow these guys on Facebook. They just did Space Truckers, which I picked up right after Stuart Gordon died. Had to have that. Awesome. Just a phenomenal, fantastic label. By the way, everybody in the comments seems to be really loving this conversation right now. Ace Von Johnson says, Ace Von Johnson says the VHS box discussion is fantastic. Rumorg seems
it's
to be
an acquired taste, I'm sure, but
I just love talk. I could talk about this stuff for hours. This one is a very special one to me.
I was just going to ask you if you like part 3 because I love.
Are you kidding me? I interviewed Brian Usna at great length about part 3, but the other person I interviewed was John Penny, the screenwriter of part 3.
Oh, okay.
And he was also an assistant editor on Return of the Living Dead. And part 3 is, I hate that it's called a part 3. Like, it shouldn't be part 3. It should just be Kurt and Julie or something. It should just be like its own movie, but I love it to death. And this copy was the first time I ever saw the movie was on this copy from my VHS store, and I had to own it. I had to buy it when it was going out of business, so I still have it. I'll never watch it on this. I have the Vestron Blu-ray over there, but like I just have to have it because it just means so much to me. I
used to have posters like everywhere, and that's actually one of the only movie posters that's still hanging.
It's the best poster. It's the greatest. So this is the greatest picture ever like taken in this.
And I got the original one sheet from a flea market that somebody luckily still had in a nice case.
Wow.
I got it for $2.
$2?
Yeah, $2.
$2. No, that is really cool. Yeah, give me back my $2. I just love it when I love it when you come into like something that you find that you treasure in that kind of way, and you just are able to acquire it. Are either one of you, one last film I have to ask you, 2 films I have to ask both of you about. One, have you seen Meet the Hollowheads? Either one of you?
No. That sounds really familiar, but I don't think so.
Okay. There's nothing more to say except you must, it's very easy to find. I think it's on Amazon Prime, and I think it's even on YouTube, and you have to see Meet the Hollowheads. It is just, I talk about it all the time on this channel. That's number 1. Number 2, are either one of you familiar with Rock and Rule?
Yeah, Rock and Rule I've seen in the theater.
What?
Yep.
So
the town I'm from is called Riverside, California. And in Riverside, back in the 70s and 80s, they used to have midnight showings. And one of the films that they showed was Dawn of the Dead. The other film they would show is The Stones' Black and Blue, and then Rock and Rule. And such other great stuff. But yeah, I've seen it on the big screen.
Oh my God. Jason, this is a soundtrack, it's Iggy Pop, Lou Reed, Cheap Trick, Blondie, Earth, Wind and Fire. It's like an adult cartoon. I have the Marvel comic book tie-in.
Nice.
I used to make t-shirts. I made my own t-shirts. I made my own mock shirt. I love this movie. And there's just like, it's so hard to find, like when Unearthed Films put this out. And I got to thank Stephen Bureau, who runs Unearthed Films, and I said, "Dude, thank you so much for putting this movie out. Like it means so much to me." I was so grateful because if he hadn't done that, if he hadn't licensed that film, then I never would have seen it. I saw it in the back. I found an ad for it in the back of a rock magazine. I was like, "Who is this guy, Mock?" And my son loves it too. Like we watched it. Like that one is also, because it's kind of like a weird sort of situation, that is on YouTube legally for free, so you can watch it officially through the official way, like legally. Like don't stream it, like you can actually watch it. Everybody should check out
Rock and Rule.
It's just great. John of Doom says when Robert would come to NYC for a merch meeting with Arturo or whatever, the first thing he would want to do is get good pizza because LA pizza sucks. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Arturo was awesome. I don't know if you're familiar with who Arturo was, but he was the guy who did the presidential seal for the Ramones.
Arturo Vega.
Yeah, Arturo Vega.
Oh, so you knew
Arturo? I was the Ramones merch guy for several years too.
Oh, hey, it's only fucking 90 minutes into the show. Hey, I was the Ramones merch guy.
Yeah, sorry.
Like, what the fuck?
Bury the fucking lead.
What the fuck? Holy shit. In the 90s you were?
In the 90s, yeah. In the late 90s, early 2000s. And,
oh my God.
Up until Joey died. Well, when Joey died, everything changed, but I was the merch guy for a few years after that. But anyway, yeah, I worked with the band for like 6-7 years.
That's amazing. So you were on the road with the
No. Like I was after they had stopped touring is when I started. They had a deal with a company called Winterland, which was Bill Graham. I don't know if you know who Bill Graham was. He's this
Promoter?
big guy. Yeah, promoter guy. He
Yeah.
had a merch company called Winterland back in the 70s and 80s. And they were with Winterland. And then their Winterland deal was over. I went to the last show actually in LA. And
Wow.
their stuff was over. And then Arturo got in touch and wanted us to do it for Hot Topic and retail at the time, and because nobody was doing it after Winterland lost it. So yeah, I worked with the band, and when Joey died, it was sad. Quick story. It was in Spin Magazine, this story, but I came into the office. Joey died on a Sunday. I came in on a Monday, and on my fax machine, there was maybe like 20 or 30 purchase orders from like Hot Topic, Urban Outfitters, like all these crazy retail stores that never wanted anything to do with the Ramones ever. And yeah, they were just totally, you know, his corpse was still warm, and they were just like,
they just wanted, they wanted to cash in.
But I'm the one responsible for putting it on Paris Hilton and making it more of a brand. Wow. And then we got fired. I got fired by Joey's brother's manager in 2000 and
Mickey Lee.
Mickey has a manager named Dave Fry who was he was Cheap Trick's manager at the time. So anyway, that's my Ramones story. But anyway,
question. So when first of all, what was it? Okay, that last show. What do you remember from the last show? What was that like? Did you see the two of them clash on stage where they were walking off after the final song? They were playing Anything You Want.
Everybody just kind of all went their own way. It was kind of sad. You would think they would like take a final bow or something. And then I forgot how many shows it was. It was an insane amount of shows they had played.
2,226.
Yeah. And I think Arturo had only missed like 2 or 3 of them. And anyway, yeah, it was a real sad thing. And then, but they reunited. I don't know if people know this, but they reunited maybe like 6 months later on Howard Stern. And they did a
right
city at Tower
for the release.
So
I've seen it. It's on YouTube.
They kind of made up on Howard Stern a little bit.
I saw that when Joey and Johnny are sitting next to each other, and Howard's like, boy, you too. He's like, why don't you look at each other? Just look at each other. Just look at each other in the eyes and just say hi. And Johnny is like smiling awkwardly, and so is Joey. He's like, they're like turns to like, hi Johnny. Hey Joey, like it was so funny.
Joey actually broke down and said, "Thank you for being my business partner" or something on air. Like he actually thanked Johnny, and I guess they hadn't spoke since he took Linda away. But anyway, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I had Monty Melnick on the show, on this very show actually, on this awesome. Pizza Punk show.
Yeah, Monty's
and I asked him. Yeah, Monty's great, and he was so awesome to talk to him. And I was like, so look, like, what's the deal? Like, did they really use you as like an intermediate to like talk? And this is what he said. He was like, that's ridiculous. Like, of course they like spoke to each other. Like they were in a van together. Like, it's not like they couldn't smoke. Cause you always hear like the story that like, it would literally be like, it'd be like Johnny going to Monty, be like, tell Joey that blah, 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 blah. Right. And then Joey be like, Monty, tell Johnny. And they're like, literally can like hear each other. And he's like, no, he's like, look, they were business partners. They like knew each other. And I think like, I don't know. I've read all the biography. Oh, I read I Slept with Joey Ramone, but like I read Johnny's sort of thing, his commando book.
Mm-hmm.
And I get the sense that on some level, deep down inside, they were still Ramones and they had been through all that shit together. Yeah. And that like, even if he was trying to like stay on brand, that like they must have had love for each other on some deeper level.
I think there was definitely a respect there, but they just
respect. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a good, and here's my other question. So now Arturo, he designed the logo.
Mm-hmm.
Were the Ramones, did they co-own that together, or did the Ramones buy it from him, or how did that work? Was he a part of that, or was he like
part of it? He was. So when we would like come up with new designs and stuff, he was the one he was the creative director. He was also the
Gotcha.
the lighting guy or
lighting
whatever.
guy, right?
Yeah.
He worked for the Misfits after that too.
No, that's kind of how we got the introduction, was through the Misfits.
Oh,
I was
okay,
a
there you
Misfits merchandiser for a while too. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know that.
I've actually merchandised for the Jerry side and Glenn also, so I'm very familiar with all those guys.
That's fascinating too, because there was a period of time where Jerry couldn't put Glenn on anything and Glenn couldn't put Jerry on anything. So you'd get classic designs. That was you.
Yeah.
So you're doing the Halloween. You did that.
Yeah. It was on an orange Ringer t-shirt.
Yep. I remember it.
Glenn was like, just make these adjustments and black him out. And, it was pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, that's I wanted to do a Walk Among Us t-shirt. And at the time I was working with Jerry, and Glenn's stuff was done through a company called Blue Grape. And they couldn't use Jerry for any of their stuff. So like we were going to trade. We were going to do a Walk Among Us shirt, and they were going to do a Beware shirt. So it was like going to be an
they
even
agreed.
trade.
So they agreed.
Yeah. So it was like an early phase of them like actually like communicating somewhat.
Was this pre-2001?
Oh yeah, this is like
wow.
Yeah,
no, it'd have to be after.
It was after. I want to say it was like 2000. No, you're right. It was 99 or 2000.
Okay, that's
because I was on the Samhain. I was on the Sam Hain tour at the time. I was merching for Jerry. I was on the Sam Hain tour. So
wow,
yeah, it was pretty funny.
That is okay. So what's so interesting about that is because I always suspect that those two started talking because they almost reunited in 2002. Yeah, I suspect that when Caroline was going to put out 12 Hits from Hell, that those two like actually like spoke for the first time, and on some level where they unanimously were like shutting that shit down. They're like, we do not want this to come out. Yeah. And I think that started the talks. That had to have started the talks.
Well, I know that Doyle was kind of the intermediary. Doyle had showed up to Glenn's house and left the big 12-inch coffin figured dolls on his porch. And
did he really?
Yeah, and he left him with a bunch of Kit Kats because Glenn's favorite candy is Kit Kat. So Doyle left this stuff on Glenn's porch with a note like, "Hey, give us a call," kind of thing. And I think somebody saw Glenn like throwing those in the trash next to
get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm serious.
This was in LA. This was in LA. This was at the Bricks house.
Yeah, the Bricks house.
Wow.
That's where yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Some of it's probably folklore, but it wouldn't surprise me if Glenn was throwing those things out and ate the Kit Kats. Like
I just love that is. Yeah, but here's the thing: like they did start. They were like a united front against Caroline, against that release. You know what I'm saying? Like that had to have like been some sort of solvent or glue that had, hey, let's start. Are we going to do this? Or like Graves is out of the picture. Chud is out of the picture. Like Jerry's like, Doyle is out of the picture, or soon to be out of the picture. Yeah. Dez is in the band now. And it's kind of like, what are we going to do here? Where are the Misfits going at this point? We need to get Glenn back, So I just imagine that had to have something.
They tried to do, it was an Ozfest. It was an Ozfest where they were going to play, the Misfits were going to reunite at one point. It was all just talk. I don't know what was real, but I hear stuff from Jerry's camp, and then I hear stuff from Glenn, and Glenn shooting everything down, but crazy. I know for a fact that there were communications back and forth, and what really brought them together was that Hot Topic lawsuit. I don't know if you know the details.
Well, yeah, but that was year. I mean, that's the modern reunion. Yeah. But here's my question to you. Okay, one last question about this, and we'll move on. I don't want to. And I listen. You guys have been so generous with your time. I don't know if we need to be landing the airplane soon. I'm having such a great time. So here, let me ask you this: what about the stipulations? Did you know any? Was that true? Really true that he's like you can't tour for a year. We're not using Robo. Robo's out. You can't use Robo, right?
Accurate. Yeah, I don't know.
And Jerry was like, "Fuck you. I'm not. I refused." And
from what I understand is that they wanted. Well, Glenn wanted Steve to play drums because Steve was kind of on some Misfits recordings, and
rightfully so. Steve would be a perfect.
And then Jerry wanted Eric. Who is Eric Arce, who is Chupacabra or whatever they call him.
The goat. But that's later. You're talking about no, this is later. I'm talking about in 2002.
Oh, 2002. I don't remember, but I know that Jerry did try to get Dave Vanian at one point.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were like,
yes.
The ads were, they already had the ads that said, we got a damned good new singer, and all this stuff. Yeah. So anyway,
and you know what's funny? The Dave Vanian and Captain Seswell, those guys have never been. It's either maybe it's stricken from like the interview record, like don't ask us about these guys.
Mm-hmm.
It just amazes me that how many interviews the Damned have done, and they've never been asked about the Misfits, or no one's ever been like, so Jerry wanted to get you as the lead singer. There's only one time Nerdwar was the only guy who's like the perfect guy, right?
Yeah,
Jason,
yeah.
He's like the guy who
Yeah.
Well,
right.
Funny story. Dave Vanian, Lee Ving, and myself rode the train in 2019 from Rebellion Festival to Manchester. And that train ride is about a 3-hour train ride. So I interrogated Dave Vanian about all this stuff. And apparently when he was going to agree to do the Misfits thing, but they had a stipulation that he had to work out and be muscular, and just all these crazy stipulations for Vanian to join the band. And so he was like, fuck you guys, I'm not going to do it.
He was going to do it.
He was signed up and ready to go, and then
Get
they were
the
just like,
fuck out of here.
no cheeseburgers for Dave.
Get ripped.
Get ripped.
I love this band so much. I love them.
No,
I love them.
And anyway, Dave secretly goes to me, I fucking hate the Misfits.
but then they ended up doing the Fiend Fest later.
Yeah, no, they have a good relationship. And, He was just Dave Vanian, but he was like, I fucking hate those guys.
Right. Because it's like, come on, just cut me a break. And that makes sense too, because the Damned were at a super like inactive point at that point. He's doing Dave and the Phantom Chords.
Yep.
And Jerry comes a knocking.
Yep.
And it's like, why not take on, and that, my God, would that have been interesting?
You don't want to know another funny story that you may or may not know, but did you know that the Misfits were the Fruit of the Loom band? For the old Fruit of the Loom ads in the 70s or the late 70s, early 80s?
No. Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about. Explain.
There's apparently the Fruit of the Loom, like, figures on the underwear. There's like a grape and an apple, and so the head of marketing at Fruit of the Loom was friends with Jerry's dad, and Jerry's dad said, well, my son has a band. They were the guy was looking for a music group to do ads for Fruit of the Loom underwear, and so Jerry's dad like volunteered the Misfits to like be the Fruit of the Loom band, and they actually, according to Jerry, they actually shot a commercial with the Misfits in the Fruit of the Loom outfits.
What the fuck?
If you ever get Jerry on your show, you can ask him. It's true.
I don't think Jerry will. I would love Uncle Jerry to come on my show, but that will never happen. Wait, hold on a second. Let's do a timeline check. This has to be the 90s. This is not
no. This is 79 or 78. This is like
what?
Yeah.
Dude, you're blowing my fucking mind right now.
This is Jerry told me at we used to have him come out at the trade shows. There's a trade show called Magic in Las Vegas, and it's like the big apparel convention. So anyway, Jerry is like, we were the Fruit of the Loom band, like he's telling me over dinner, and I'm just like, you're fucking insane. And I'm like, no, like they filmed us in a studio.
I love
we
Jerry
were all
so
wearing
much.
the Fruit of the Loom costumes, and we were all playing, and we were the Fruit of the Loom band.
I gotta talk to Bobby. I gotta ask Bobby.
There can't be evidence of this though, right?
I think it was Bobby or right after Bobby left, but I think was fired, but it's right around that time that they were the Fruit of the Loom
80.
band.
Well, that's a very underdocumented year for the Misfits. 1980 is a very sort of like, they're almost inactive for 6 months, like after they lose Bobby.
Yeah.
Like it's just a very no. Sorry. Correction. They had Bobby all the way up until they were recording 12 Hits from Hell. They just weren't doing anything. They weren't playing shows. You know what it was? It wasn't Bobby. It was they lost Joey Image. Joey Image had a heroin problem. He left the band in in England, and they came back. They had to find Googie, and that's what happened. They would lose a guy. And speaking of the Walk Among Us cover, if you look at Googie's head, you've seen Googie's head it's right behind you.
Yeah.
Googie has an egghead. They cut off his head, and they cut out. You can look at right now. If you look at the watch, he has a wristwatch on his. He has a missing wristwatch on his arm. Look at Googie's arm.
Yeah, I can see it. Hang on.
Yeah. They cut that out. That's why Googie. I spoke to Googie on the phone. He told me that's why he left the band. That's what he said. That he left the band.
Cheeseburger Incident.
There's the Cheeseburger Incident. I don't know. It's somewhat contested. There's somebody once commented an eyewitness account on a YouTube video of one of mine about the Cheeseburger account, and he used such like lucid detail to describe this incident. He said things that no one could possibly know unless they were there. He was so convincing in his telling. And it just seemed too like it was nuts. It was nuts. I did a whole Patreon video about it. If you're a Patreon, you can see that video.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the cheeseburger is the reason. I'm curious. One other thing, did Dave Vanian, when you were on that 3-hour ride, did you ask him, or did he talk about the Misfits walking off the 1979
we didn't
tour?
talk too much. I know that they like showed up at his house and they weren't really scheduled to be on the tour. They just kind of put him on to be nice. He did say, we did talk about Archangel quite a bit. So he has a cassette somewhere of a demo that Glenn had sent him back in the 70s or whenever this was to record Archangel. So I guess there's a demo. He's got it still somewhere in his archive, the Vanian archive. But he said that he wanted to do it. I guess it's just a scheduling thing, but the tour he didn't talk too much about, but he just did say that they kind of were not really supposed to be on the tour. And, there was no paperwork or no contract and, whatever, but it's too bad. I mean, I guess they played 3 shows or something like that, or
2 shows,
okay.
And they walked off.
Yeah. And then Bobby had told me that, Joey was really strung out, having shakes and dope sick and just left. And they were, so I don't know if you know, but they were selling Horror Business copies.
Yes.
In the UK, and I guess they sold a bunch to a place that just lost them or forgot about them.
A whole box,
a stack of Horror Business. Yeah, a whole box of Horror Business singles that just were vanished until like 2 or 3 years ago or something.
And they just all of them surfaced. And what happened was, they bring a bunch of merch over. They're doing the deal. This is when Glenn first gets in contact with Caroline, because they're doing the Beware deal on Cherry Red, which is also like a Caroline thing.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is, so they go over there to do the business in addition. Now, here's what's interesting. Had Joey not left, or had they had a drummer that could that didn't have a habit, there's a very good chance. Or if they had soldiered on with the tour, there's a very good chance the Misfits might have gotten signed and might have put out a real full length, record label backed full length album that would have put them higher up in the pantheon of whatever. And just once again, just like always, like something goes wrong and we have what we have, or it turned out the way it turned out. But it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, for sure. One could speculate on quite a few things that they could have done.
That's all we do all day here. We just speculate. That's all I do. I before I start opening my motor mouth, I say, just so you know, I'm not an expert, and I'm just speculating. I'm just speculating, because that's what we do. We just speculate all friggin' day on just all sorts of punk minutia. Jason,
did you ever hear the Halloween 3 thing that you guys did that short on?
So I did not hear it, but Steve did answer the question. Every once in a
while,
while,
but I just wondered if the guy who owns that acetate actually like transcribed it to digital or transferred it to digital and shared it.
So he did. I don't know if he ever digitized it. I really hope that he does. I really want to believe that it's real, from the way that the way that Steve, like, basically, because Steve, like, poor Steve, like, he comes on and he has to answer all these fucking nerd questions, like this minutia questions, like reaching into the back of his brain trying to like figure out what are these guys fucking talking about. Oh yeah.
Steve is probably the most knowledgeable because he was there. And
Oh
Steve
my God.
I've been to Steve's house, and Steve has probably the best collection of stuff. He
He's
has
got goodies.
George Germain's reels and
Yep.
and tape
58
machines,
Gretsch. 58 Gretsch.
and the guitar from Archangel, yeah, the Gretsch.
For horror business and American Nightmare.
Yeah, and
Good shit.
yeah, Steve's got a lot of stuff. Steve has.
Yeah,
he's
the biggest Misfits fan of all the people. That's what's so funny. People don't realize, like it's like Glenn, like the dude is in Danzig, but he's also the biggest Misfits fan ever. Like he loves the Misfits. That informed him. He's like Glenn, Glenn Danzig, like was his biggest influence. So like it totally makes sense. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
What was I gonna say? I got Steve back in the band.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
I told Glenn, Steve's a pretty good bass player. You should have him, because I guess Jerry Montano had left, and I was the merch guy at the time, and I was friends with Steve. Steve had a band called Doom Tree.
Yeah, I know. And it turned into Mara's Drug.
Yeah, right.
I shot his video. I shot the music videos for Steve. I did Black 29.
Awesome.
Sweet Nothing, and there's another one coming out for Cleopatra in a little bit. We just did a video. But no, I did not know that. That's very interesting. Is that must have been, that was like 2006, 2005? Yeah.
2006, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Glenn was going to do what Glenn was going to do, but I just kind of like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, Steve can handle that bass guitar pretty well. It makes
sense, dude. It's perfect continuity, man. It's just, I like the continuity of that dude being in that band, and he's perfect. It's great. And listen, Glenn friggin', I mean, Steve does like the sound levels for like Glenn's shit. Like he knows what Glenn likes and stuff. So he works
Steve's
the board.
A sound man for a wedding thing, I think, on the weekends and stuff. Like he knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. Jason, tell me what, first of all, are you, is there any Misfits songs that you really enjoy or anything? Are you a Misfits guy at all?
Oh yeah, I'm a Misfits fan. I've always really liked Last Caress. I mean, everybody loves Last Caress, so I think like more of a deeper cut would probably be like Children in Heat.
Love that song.
I love that song so much.
Because it references Chicago.
Yeah.
They all changed. When they played that in Chicago, and I wasn't there for it, but I'd be like, oh my God, they said Chicago in the town of Chicago.
Yeah. But I mean, they're one of the few punk bands where like start to nice.
Don't bring that up in front of Steve. Steve don't like to talk about China. Sorry, Jason.
I love all the old Misfits shit for sure.
Oh, it's good.
Even some of the Michael Graves stuff. I don't like. Some of it.
I am not a big fan of Michael Graves, but I love those 2 albums. I love the music.
Saturday Night. Oh
yeah, sure.
Listen,
all good stuff. I just Michael Graves, the person, not so much. Not a fan of that guy, but like the music is fine. I enjoy those albums, even though I don't like Dr. Chud is a whole other story. Somebody writes in the comments, the collective knowledge here is overwhelming. I am learning so much. Incredible what you guys have all done. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you to say. A
little too kind.
A little too kind. Real quick, listen, let's start to land the airplane a little bit here because it is late. I have to do a very, very quick sponsor break. First and foremost, before I even do the sponsor break, I just want to again clarify for anybody who watches this or is enjoying this channel, go check out Atom Age Industries. Links are in the comments. They've got a ton of stuff. They've got records. Okay, like I said, they got all the fear. If you're into Fear and you want to own the Fear records on beautiful, various different colors of vinyl, go check that out. That's number one. They got all kind of t-shirts. You like Meet the Feebles, Peter Jackson? You like Creative Fear shirts? What else you got? You got Damned. I saw the Damned was up. What else you got, Robert? Argento. Yeah. Just check it out, guys.
If you, man.
Yeah, just like everything that we're talking about that you're into, it's all on Atom Age. So check that out.
We're all geeky collectors like you guys are.
There you go. We're powered by riotstickers.com. And it's a great place to go if you need to get your stickers printed up. They printed up these stickers for me. They also printed up, check out this beautiful banner that they printed up for me in the background. They do buttons and bottle cap openers. They sent me a whole care package full of stuff. Right now, we're running a special contest with freaking riotstickers.com. You can win 20 free custom t-shirts. It's free to enter. All you got to do is go to riotstickers.com/win. We're also still doing the special promo deal. The promo code is Frumess, the name of this channel, Frumess. The link is in the description below. And very lastly, we just have to play the 60-second video featuring music from the guy from Less Than Jake. Hold on 1 second. It's coming right now. I just got to load it up. And here we go.
Hi, I'm a guy from riotstickers.com, the merch company known for being the bomb. Do you hate going to work?
But like getting paid?
Do you hate snow?
But want to make sweet, sweet love to a snowman?
That was unexpected. All right, what about this? Do you hate paying for stuff, but like having custom t-shirts? You are in luck. We can't help with the snowman thing. That's probably going to take a therapist, but riotstickers.com is giving you a chance to win a free order of custom shirts. And entering is easier than
making sweet, sweet
get her out of here. All you have to do is simply go to riotstickers.com/win and enter your name and email address. Riot Stickers will have a random drawing to pick a winner. So head to riotstickers.com/win for your chance to win free custom shirts. And be sure to check out other custom merch while you're there because it is the bomb.
Riotstickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb. Riotstickers.com, Riot Stickers, we are the bomb.
And we're back. Listen, guys, we are winding down this airplane. Think about this like a plane flight, and we are slowly winding in for our final descent, if you were to quote another Sam Hain song. I want to double back because we kind of got lost in the fury of excitement, talking about all the things that we love and cherish and hold dear. I wanted to ask Jason about his film Tapehead. He started to tell us about it. Jason, tell us a little bit about Tapehead and how did you come to this idea to do this documentary? Obviously you love VHS. Go ahead. Tell us all about it. I want to hear about it.
So it's actually, it's a mockumentary short. It's not a doc, but it was really like
right.
very much pandemic inspired. And most of my humor is pretty self-deprecating. And so I started to realize that I was really going down the rabbit hole and becoming obsessed with collecting. I was like, it started out fun and then it became like an obsession and I was being so lame about it. And so I was like, okay, how can I turn that into something creative and fun, poke fun at myself and collectors like me. So I wrote a script and asked some buddies. Wilson Mack is the star and he's so good. But yeah, we just went around for a few weekends and went to thrift stores and weird flea markets and just improv making fun of ourselves. And yeah, so, and it came out really fun. Like I really think,
Great.
And thank you so much. And it's really nice because, you spend so much time. We spent like 3 years making Straight Edge Kegger from start to finish. And this happened so quick and like kind of organically. And now I'm always the person, like, I don't mind putting stuff out into the world, but I don't watch my movies in theaters. I will go walk around the block for an hour and 20 minutes.
Aw.
I'll get a coffee and I'll come back because I just can't.
Why?
I can't fucking handle that stress. I can't handle it. But with the short, it's 9 minutes long. So I'm like, I could commit. And it's so nice because like we played it at Nightmares and just listening to everybody laugh and like cheer on the things that we wanted them to cheer on. It's really exciting. So it's a silly little thing. We might turn it into a web series or something one day, but got a lot of things on the fire cooking. So right now it's just a short.
You got your work cut out for you. Wow, it took you 3 years to make Straight Edge Kegger start to finish.
From the proof of concept to the finished feature. So it's like there's some time in the middle where it's like pre-production, crowdfunding, all that stuff. So
what was the most challenging aspect of each part of the process? Pre-production, post-production, pre-production, production, and post-production. If you could pick one thing from each that was just like that you found to be the most challenging.
I'd say pre-production on Straight Edge Kegger. We have no money. I mean, that's a big thing. Is I'm like I put things on.
Do any of us have money?
Yeah, I've been donating blood plasma for 3 years to pay down my film debt. So like, talk about fucking DIY. But so we had to pick a date, and so we were like, we pick a date, and then we know we need to get all our ducks in a row by that date.
Right, go time. The date is go time.
So we went through Farmer's Almanac to try to try to figure out when it wouldn't rain for the dates. So like, so just like committing to a time period and like then doing.
That's quite a resource too.
Oh my God, it was amazing. And so, it was amazing. Yeah, I don't know how many people do that normally, but yeah, it worked out. We only got rained out one night. So, so yeah, it was an 11-day shoot. So production was hard. It was really, really tough. My favorite, you asked about concerts, and like, honestly, if I had to pick like one concert to maybe trade in for the rest, it's probably the opening of the movie.
Wow.
Where we had, we had 4 bands, but we had Ugly Bones headline this show at Subterranean, and it was one of the most stressful days of my life, but it was also one of the best days of my life. So so that was an insane. We had like 200 people there, filmed all day.
How did you do the sync? Did they actually play? Were they actually playing live, or what?
Yeah, they played everything. All that's live, and I have to give all the credit to my buddy Tim Gick. He did the score for the movie as well. So one side of the soundtrack that Adam Age is pressing,
pick it up at Adam Age.
Yes. And there's a blood red vinyl. It's pretty rad. I'm pretty excited. But yeah, one side is all Tim Gick, but Tim came with, and he just volunteered his time to do that. Like, I paid him for the movie, but he was just like, I'll come help. And I'm so lucky that we did that, because without him, it would have probably seemed fake and canned, because it would have just been their actual song recorded, dubbed over.
Right.
We got it all live.
Always tell.
It feels like a real punk show because it was a real punk show.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that night was intense, and then post actually wasn't that hard, because like I said, I edit as I go. I'd say the biggest thing for me was like, everybody told me to take a break because it was such a big part of my life and I was so stressed about everything. They were like, don't edit for a month. I was like, bullshit. Like, I instantly started going through stuff, but there was so much footage that we had gotten from that night that I first started looking. And when I was clicking through all the slow-mo, the high-speed videos of the mosh pit, I thought we just had garbage. I was like, it's all useless. We have nothing. And then,
that's always,
but it's just because I didn't look at the entirety. I was just looking at little clips.
You're like, my life is over.
Exactly. And then by the time I'm done, I'm like trying to cut it down because I have too much cool shit to cut. So yeah, long-winded way to explain. There's so much.
No, that's freaking great. I love hearing about that stuff. I find it incredibly inspiring. Truly. I thought that a great way to close out this show would be for each of us, or for each of you guys, really. I want you to pick 5 movies and 5. You can either do, how about albums? 5 albums and 5 movies. And I want you to already start thinking about them as I'm talking. I'm stalling for you guys so you can think about it, because I'm just springing this on you. Just 5 like go to, and it can't be Dawn of the Dead, because you already said that. We know you love Dawn of the Dead. It's got to be just 5. It could be deep cuts. It could be Rex. It could be anything of that ilk. And the same with 5 albums. These albums have to have every single track, like start to finish, like every single track you love. Like, you can't skip a track. Like, recommendation. You have to recommend the album. You have to recommend and you're allowed to talk about it for like 1 to 2 sentences, or else we'll be here all night. So you got to just be
5.
brief in you get 5 of each. If you guys need a little bit more time, I will, what do you got? Oh, you're pointing to stuff already? Oh, okay.
No, he's pointing to me, isn't he?
Oh, he's pointing to you.
Shit,
Jason, can you go first? Am I putting you on the spot?
Yeah.
You do it?
Full disclosure, I'm terrible with names, so you guys might even have to help me if I like.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna try not to look at Robert's wall, because I know I'm gonna be inspired by these things. I guess even though I'm not the biggest Black Flag fan, Damaged is definitely up there for me. Nobody's probably going to know this, but Ceremony, Violence, Violence. I could listen to that over and over again.
Okay.
Oh my God. I hate this so much. The first self-titled Fiddler record, I guess.
Oh,
that's a one for
did we
me.
just become best friends?
Oh my gosh,
Holy
I love
shit.
her. One of
Okay,
the
I
best shows
saw-
I've ever seen in my life.
Bro, I saw them open up for the Pixies at the Capitol Theater. And let me tell
now
you
I'm
something.
thinking about the Pixies.
Oh, I'm a huge Pixies. I'm a diehard, ginormous, just as like if in my 5 bands, right? My 5 bands, like the Stooges, the Beatles, the Misfits, the Pixies, and God, who's be the 5th? I don't know, man. I don't know who might, maybe Sublime. I really, really love Sublime. I love these fucking bands. I mean, I love a lot of bands, obviously, but fucking, I love the Pixies. So I go to see the Pixies at the Cap. I've seen the Pixies about like 5 or 6 times since 2005. He goes, here we go again. Because Rue has to hear these stories all the time. No, I saw fucking Fiddler open. I had no idea who the fuck they were.
Nice.
I didn't know that the fucking
Early
2
days.
kids, those are Greg's kids from TSOL, the
Yep,
keyboard
yeah.
player. Those are his sons, Elvis and Max.
Yeah.
And they blew my fucking face off. I bought that fucking record.
Max Can't Surf.
Max Can't Surf. That whole record from start to finish is immaculate. Are you a fan of the Frights?
I don't
You
think
know
I know
the
who they
Frights?
are.
Oh
But
my
I'm bad
God.
with names. I'm so bad with names. I can't even believe I'm doing this well so far.
We'll talk about West Coast bands off the air, but
Okay.
I feel like there's a lot of music. All right, so sorry. So Fiddler
You're
first record. Fuck It Dog, Life's a Risk. Great fucking band. Go ahead.
So good, so good. This is weird, but Andrew Jackson Jihad Can't Maintain.
Not familiar, but okay.
It's folk punk, but man, it is from start to finish. It's just solid gold.
Send it to me. DM it to me on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, I will. Man, I'm gonna change all of these later. You know what I mean? Like this is totally not
late. This is not fair. This is not fair.
I love, and
I'll give you a bonus cup after Robert goes. You get 1 bonus cup, like
bonus.
Descendants bonus or all bonus cup. Bill Stevenson bonus cup.
And then and then probably Dead Kennedy's Fresh Fruit for Rotten Vegetables.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Respect.
Oh, and then movies. Do I have to do movies now?
Yeah, but let's skip over to Robert. You think about your movies. Robert's going to do the music. We'll switch it around.
Okay.
Robert, you go.
Okay, number 1 for me is the Rolling Stones' "Exile on Main Street."
Ooh, what a great opening track, dude.
Every song on that record is fantastic. I can listen to the whole thing over and over and over and don't skip. It's just solid double album. And actually, I think that album is actually outtakes from some of the other records that they did, but it's solid. Like
didn't they record it in a mobile studio
in Paris? Yeah, and
like high on cocaine.
Yeah, high on heroin and cocaine. Yeah.
Anyway,
that record is phenomenal. It's got Graham Parsons on it too, believe it or not. Like it's really a really cool record. Never mind the bollocks.
Okay. I almost said that.
Every track is great. No Sid on bass though. It's actually Steve Jones. I don't know if you've seen the documentary about it.
Yes, I knew that. The Classic Albums documentary. Actually, Sid does play bass on 1 track.
Oh, okay.
He plays bass on Bodies, or he plays a track of bass on Bodies.
Nice. There's a bootleg of the last show in San Francisco where they do a sound check, and Sid's actually playing bass on Ramones on a Ramones song.
That makes sense.
He could actually play. I think they were just so far into the process that he didn't get a chance to play on the record. I don't think it was a lack of playing. Maybe it was a combination of both. Anyway, Walk Among Us, for sure. Every song, fantastic. Great album.
Can I ask you one question about that? One question. Yeah. Would you if you had to introduce someone who never heard the Misfits, what album would you pick Walk Among Us as the album to do it with?
Absolutely. I think Walk Among Us or Beware, but I think
Cool.
Walk Among Us is just a solid record, like just every song is great. And I don't know if you've heard the roughs from when they did it.
Plan 9 version?
Yeah.
I know. I have the Plan 9 version.
Okay. Yeah. It sounds nothing like what
Devil's Whorehouse is so different.
Yeah.
Those clacks.
Yep.
The double vocals. It's insane.
Yeah, for sure. Beatles White Album.
Oh, you also just became my best friend. That is like, that's my holy number 1 Beatles,
it's
White
just
Album.
way
Mm.
strong songs and just great soundtrack of my youth right there.
Same, dude. Same. Great. Fucking excellent.
London Calling, Clash.
Okay.
Great record,
I was
double
thinking
album.
about that too. Yeah.
Van Halen, 1984.
Okay.
Great record.
Okay.
Great production, great songs.
Yeah.
Some
Can't
of
go
those
wrong with
songs
that.
were super early Van Halen tunes that got scrapped and then redid later, but it's still, I think it's a great record.
Discovered by Gene Simmons, right?
Yeah, I have those demos.
So
those
crazy.
demos are so good.
Really? Those
he
are
knew- he was
77, 78?
No, like earlier, I think like 76.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That is amazing. That's
Um,
really amazing.
Shit. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Great record all through and through.
John
Duff and
says you love the
actually
jam.
Duff and Slash play on the new Fear album.
Yes. So I said, Lee, so I didn't want to ask him straight out because I wasn't sure how he would respond. So I just was like, Lee, so can we expect, I think I said something like, can we expect any guests or something? And I forgot what his answer was. He was like, he doesn't want anybody to, he was like, he's like, yes, we're collaborating all the time. Something like that. Like, oh, I knew the answer already. I knew that those guys had played on it, but he just was like, so like mum about it. It was so funny.
There's a lot of really cool guests on that.
So I've heard. Very cool.
That record will be out at the end of the year.
That's awesome.
Keep
me posted. Let me know so I can blast it on here. We'll make sure we tell people.
Yeah, it'll be a double album. So
wow,
it's going to be 26 or 30 songs or something like that.
Jeez Louise.
We were just in the studio last week. We cut some songs last week. I posted on the Fear socials. You can see a little. I cut a little video together of some studio highlights and stuff.
Nice. I will definitely check that out.
Yeah. Jam in the City.
Yeah. John just said you love the Jam.
Oh
John
yeah. The first Jam album is great. Every song just stellar, kick-ass band. Even Glenn liked the Jam. That's where he got thrown in jail. Going to see
right at the Rainbow. And you know who else they liked? You know who they really liked? And it's a great fucking English band.
Dr. Feelgood.
The Adverts.
Oh yeah, the Adverts are great too.
Fucking great band, and the Misfits loved the Adverts. They did in like 1979. That was like
Glenn liked that band Blitz too, which is
love Blitz.
Gotta Die Tonight. Like those,
I've listened to them. They're great.
Yeah, I remember him speaking highly of that band. I forgot what number I'm at.
I think you went way over your number.
I think you went way over too.
Okay.
You got greedy there, but that's okay.
First album is great.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'm jumping in, but I'm not gonna recommend top 10 because you already named the Whiteout. Like, I'm not even gonna try and walk among stuff. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna make recommendations.
Okay.
And my number one recommendation is J Retard Blood Visions.
So
just
good.
like a fucking banger of a record. That's number one. Number two, and this is Jason. If you don't listen to this album, I will like be so upset. You have to listen to Dark Thoughts. They're out of Pennsylvania. Out of Philly. They're called I'll send it to you. You don't have to worry about it. I will send it to you. You have to listen to Dark Thoughts self-titled record. It's 12 songs in 18 minutes.
Okay.
But with the melodic, with all the ferocity of the Ramones, with like the melodic wonderfulness of the Bouncing Souls, all combined into one. And it's like I said, you can listen to that record about 3 to 4 times in an hour, and you will, because you'll just listen to it over and over and over again. That's Dark Thoughts, self-titled, everybody. That's number 2. Number 3, I'm going to go with the Pixies, man. And I'm going to go with their brand new album. Well, they have a newer album coming out, but I'm going to go out with their last record, Beneath the Eerie, because I was really not satisfied with Indie Cindy or that other one that they did. I just felt like it's just Frank Black doing Frank Black songs instead of doing fucking writing like the Pixies. It's the same thing if Glenn tried to make a Misfits record today. How could he? You know, every song would just be called like Skull Forest or like, you know, like Black Roses or some bullshit. Like I don't think he's in that mind. I think you have to be in a mind place to go back to that time. It's very hard. Some bands can do it. A lot of bands can't. In this case, Black Francis was able to find that magic again, and Beneath the Eerie is just a phenomenal, true comeback record for the Pixies. So I would recommend everybody Check that out. I'm gonna also go with Funhouse because
yeah.
who the fuck was making that in 1970? You listen to literally everybody goes, oh, there was heavier stuff. And yes, if you really want it, nothing's more punky or heavier than John Lennon playing bass on Helter Skelter. You listen to John Lennon thumping that bass on Helter Skelter and you're like, holy fuck, this is punk before punk. But then you go to 1970 and they released this album called Funhouse and you listen to Down on the Street. And you're like, who the fuck else is doing this in 1970? Who's doing TVI? Who's screaming like that? Nobody is screaming like
listened to the
Iggy Pop.
Doors in 1970.
Okay, like live, maybe, yeah. Like okay, well, and Iggy was very informed by the Doors, but you know what? He wasn't going as hard as Iggy Pop.
Right.
I'm gonna give and then I'm gonna actually go with an Iggy Pop record as my next recommendation. I'm gonna recommend Post Pop Depression from 2016, which was
great. It's a great record.
It's a great record, and I'll tell you something. He I thought that would be his final record. I didn't think he would do another one called Free, which I'm not really too hip on. Post Pop Depression is the perfect punctuation period on a fucking body of work of a career. Every song, there's like 9 songs. And here's what's interesting. It is like a legitimate heir to the Bowie canon, the late German albums, right?
It's great. Yeah.
And on that tour that he did with Josh Homme or whatever his name is, they were doing only songs from the first 2 Bowie albums and Post Pop Depression. And they did Repo Man, of course. And it was sublime. I saw that at the Capitol as well. I think that's 4. And my 5th and final album is going to be Murder Ballads by Nick Cave and the motherfucking Bad Seeds. Just a fucking
Stagger Lee.
I was just about to say, if you want to hear like a friggin' white Australian dude like do the baddest gangster rap you ever heard, just listen to Stagger Lee. It's a murder ballad. Murder ballads are traditional folk songs that don't have authors. As a matter of fact, the Grateful Dead have covered a few of these songs as well. I believe they also cover Stagger Lee, but then you listen to Nick Cave do his arrangement and it melts your face off. This came out in 1994, I think, or 1996. And I'll tell you what's the opening track called? I forget the name of the opening track. Is just a brutal song. You have Henry Lee, the duet with PJ Harvey. They were dating at the time, and just phenomenal. So those are my 5. Okay, now we're going back in the round robin. We're going to close out with Jason. Give us 5 movies. Let's just make it 5 recommendations that you really, really love. Yes, Song of Joy. Thank you, John. Song of Joy is what it's called. That opening song.
Stuff I love. So Times Square is a punk movie that a lot of people don't talk about. With it,
cool.
Yeah, with Jim Carrey with a fucking amazing soundtrack. Elvis Costello is on that.
Ruts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so good.
Pulling out the big guns.
Yeah. So I was just thinking about punk movies, but then, so most of my like real joys of watching movies, it's pretty embarrassing. They're all bad. So like
that's okay.
So number 2 would be Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers.
Oh, Bruce Springsteen's sister.
Yes,
Angela.
Pamela Springsteen. Yeah. That's my girl. So that's one of my favorites.
Okay.
I'm gonna start going with like a bunch of sequels, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. Troll 2.
Oh.
Is another one. I'm just gonna go with all these sequels and then Times Square. So Slumber Party Massacre 2 is
it's the best one, dude.
Incredible.
That fucking guitar.
I love that movie
so
much. I have so much fun. Now I backed myself into a corner because I need another 2. Oh, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Of course.
It's so good. I should have just stuck with all 2s, but yeah, I'd say those are my favorites to watch for sure.
I love that list. And wait, what was I about to say about? You said about Sleepaway Camp. No, you said Slumber Party Massacre 2.
And Sleepaway Camp 2.
Oh, Troll 2. Okay, Troll 3 is actually a movie about a killer plant that was originally titled Contamination .07. There's no trolls in the movie Troll 3. It's about a killer plant. I'm super serious.
I have never even heard of this. That's crazy.
There's a Troll 3. And it's called Contamination .07. Robert,
every day. Holy shit.
Robert, your turn.
5.
Yeah, give me 5. No Dawn of the Dead, no Martin.
Oh, Evil Dead 2.
Okay.
Evil Dead 2, that's good.
The Thing, the Kurt Russell Thing.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Dead Alive, Brain Dead, fantastic.
Yeah, totally.
Suspiria, 1977.
Okay.
One more.
I prefer opera. Just
you know
saying.
what's a great movie is Manhunter
So
with William Peterson.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Elliot loves. Elliot made me watch opera. He showed me opera in
It
college.
was so amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so metal.
Oh no! You know what's fucking metal? Phenomena is fucking
Oh yeah, that's true.
Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I love it. I fucking love it. And then at the very end, spoilers for anybody who has not seen Phenomena, a fucking baboon with a straight razor chops off someone's.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
It's like a masterpiece. It really is a masterpiece. I love it. I love it. Have you guys seen The Last Matinee, which is very much in vein of like the sort of Argento? That's on Shudder. It was on Shudder. Check that out. All right, I'm gonna do 5 real quick. I'm gonna try and power through this super quick. Right off the bat, we're gonna go with Phantom of the Paradise, one of my absolute all-time favorite fucking films. I have a poster. The Screen Factory poster is right over here against the wall. I don't know if I could turn my thing that far, but it's there. And I just love everything about that movie. Speaking of Chicago, my friend used to run a 24-hour horror movie marathon, and he asked me, what movies do you want to play on what should I play on the big screen? And I said, dude, if you can get Phantom of the Paradise, do it. And he was able to get it, and I saw it on the big screen back in 2008. It was fucking awesome. I've seen it several times on the big screen. Love Phantom of the Paradise. By the way, Kevin45, the guy I was talking about, is doing Haunted Garage documentary. He's here in the comments right now, and everybody should check out his show on his channel, Von Spur Studios. And he says, when I start my Phantom show, I'll have you on to talk about Paradise. I would love that. We will do that. You call me, Kevin. That's number 1. Number two, gonna go with the original Mad Max, but Mad Max was my Star Wars. So I don't wear my leather jacket because of the Ramones. I wear my leather jacket because of Mad Max.
MCP.
Yeah, that fucking Do Right. That's something that Tank and I know you know who Tank is, Jim Dorsey. Yeah, that's Tank and I have bonded over that. As a matter of fact,
he's cosplay.
Oh yeah, as the Humongous, and people share photos thinking that it's the real Humongous, except he's got a fucking Misfits tattoo on his arm.
Right.
I'm gonna be with Tank and his wife Faye at the Mahoning Drive-In, where they do Joe Bob Briggs Drive-In. We're doing a marathon of all 4 movies, Mad Max movies, on May 20th and May 21st. And I'm going to be conducting the Q&A with Vernon Wells, the guy who plays Wes from the Road Warrior. He's going to be there. So I'll be doing the Q&A for both nights.
That's right.
Check that out, everybody. The Mahoning Drive-In. That's what they do. Joe Bob Briggs thing. We're doing, it's a mad world too. Tank will be there. Faye will be there. It's going to be a really great time. And here's the thing. I'm not just picking Mad Max. I'm picking Mad Max US dub. I don't want the Australian track. I like the original dubbed voices that are so weird to me. I just love them. I love the way that they talk. I love Fief McCaffey's voice. Max, they say you took away your heroes. We're gonna give them their heroes. It's great. It's great. That's what I grew up on. I love Bubba Zanetti's voice.
That used to play on late night cable when I was a kid. The original with that dub,
right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that whole monologue. The night right, not the night right at the beginning, but when he says, Bubba, Johnny, whew, and he says, he says, when you look up at the night sky, think of the Night Rider. And then the train conductor, he goes, anything you say. And he goes, anything I say. What a wonderful philosophy you have. And there's something about the American accent. It's just so fucking good. All right. So what is that? 3?
That's 3.
That's 3. Next up, Desperate Living by John Waters.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like one of the most punk. Everybody thinks that Pink Flamingos is the most punk film he made. Female Trouble's punk too, but nothing is more. Talk about DIY. Just bare bones. Just that movie. And I hope it gets put on the Criterion Collection. Desperate Living. It's just fucking excellent. And my last movie I'm going to pick is Richard Elfman's The Forbidden Zone, which blind buy in 2005 out of Sam Goody. I saw a frog butler on the back. Hervé, whatever his face is,
Hervé Villachet.
yeah, he is the king of the sixth dimension. And I'm like, what is this movie? I have to. And then to find out that it's tied into the Mystic Knights, the Oingo Boingo, and Danny Elfman plays the devil. I'm like, this is perfect. So those are my 5 recommendations.
Very cool.
That's good. What is it? Fee Fiki Fi Fuck You? Is that what is that what they say?
Yeah. It's when they're singing the alphabet song. Got it, what a groovy tune. The alphabet is fun. Yeah, he goes fay, or fee 5, 55, fo, 55. And that's actually in a
5 fuck you. Yeah, there you go.
Right, 55 fuck you. That's in an old Three Stooges short.
No shit.
Yeah, that's like an old school song. And the thing about Richard Elfman and Danny Elfman and the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo was like, they just like are so into like, they're into all this really old shit, like Cab Calloway and like just like these big lush like symphony style productions. And they just sort of like rearrange it in this kind of crazy cabaret theater, and they like recycle a bunch of songs like the Yiddish Charleston. That's an old tune. Obviously Minnie the Moocher they're doing. Soundtrack is great.
My introduction to Oingo Boingo was actually Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Because
what song is on that?
No One Lives Forever. It plays that's the song that's playing when they're like when the Sawyers are like reversing in the truck on the bridge.
Right.
It's such a creepy song. It like stuck with me when I was younger. Yeah.
Right.
That Forbidden Zone soundtrack was like super rare at one point. I had to buy it for a friend of mine in high school. And I think I paid in 1991, I think I paid $100 for it to buy it for my friend who reimbursed me. But anyway, yeah, that soundtrack is gnarly. Like back to Forbidden Zone for a second.
Oh, it's a phenomenal soundtrack. And speaking of soundtracks, we're each going to do a bonus cup because Ace Von Johnson reminded me of something. One bonus cup, and we're wrapping this video because we've been going a long fucking time. And I want to thank you both for your time. This was really
thank you, man.
This was awesome. I really enjoyed this. Really. Here, okay, Ace Von Johnson reminded me of this is one of my all-time favorite films of all time, called The Monster Club from 1980. It's a Vincent Price film. John Carradine's in it. So is Donald Pleasance. It has a crazy soundtrack. UB40 is on the soundtrack. The Pretty Things, who was like the competitor to the Rolling Stones in like the early 60s. And this band called The Viewers, they do a song called Monsters Rule OK. And it's got 3 segments. It's an anthology. And then you have a band play in between each segment. It's a template that I want to remake this movie. I want to do 3 anthology shorts, and I want to put a bunch of bands in between the anthology shorts, like interesting bands, and just do that because I think it's such a fun format. So that's my bonus cup. I fucking love The Monster Club. Who would like to go next?
I'll go. Yeah, because so now that everything was a sequel, that was part 2. So now I'm doing one more that I should have done instead of Times Square. Love Times Square, but Decline of Western Civilization Part 2.
The Metal Years.
Oh, I love it so much. It is so near and dear to my heart. I even like replicated the T-shirt that was released a long time ago. I love it. So yeah,
wow,
that's mine for sure.
I love it. Great, that's great. Robert.
So this is a bonus movie.
Yeah, bonus cup. One
Now,
movie.
Long one.
Apocalypse Now. It's a great movie.
Apocalypse Now. Yeah,
we do. The long version.
Oh, the 4 hour, like 20-minute version.
It's great. Yeah.
That's awesome. Co-written by John Milius.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Talk about a movie that encapsulates a certain period of time so perfectly, right?
Yeah.
Really, truly. I have just had such a ball tonight with my guests. I really want to thank Robert and Jason so much. Check out all the links. Thank you guys, truly. Check out Adam Age Industries. They're just always putting out really cool shit. And they're all over the place. They're on Instagram and they're on Facebook and the website. And like I said, double Fear album is coming with all sorts of guests and surprises.
And Fear the Record is being reissued on May 16th as a box set.
There you go. You got a box set coming of
60
Fear the Record. What's in the box set? Do you know?
Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again.
60 bonus tracks.
60 bonus tracks.
60 bonus tracks.
Oh my Lord. I mean,
Yeah.
that will make any Fear fan just happy as pie.
Absolutely.
Truly. And these guys have a documentary. Well, here's a question for you. Does it have a name yet? Do you have a name?
We
Is it
Destroy
a
the
secret?
Family.
We Destroy the Family.
I love it. I love it.
The family.
We Destroy the Family.
Feardocumentary.com.
What is it?
Feardocumentary.com.
Feardocumentary.com. I'll put that link in as well. Okay, we are going to say goodbye. I am not going to do the Patreon thing because this is a super long episode and I have a very quick thing I need to talk to these two guys about as soon as I get off. But I just want to say again, thank you, everybody. Thank you for everybody who stayed and watched. We still have 10 people watching 2.5 hours later. That's awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, just like friggin' just check these guys out. As we say on the channel, we say peace and hair grease. Check out the Patreon. We got lots of cool videos. We got the Lee Ving video is up there. The Lee Ving interview is up there. And it's a really, really great interview. All right, I'm ending the stream. Goodbye, everybody.